Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom and Marigold podcast anywhere in the world. I am, as always, Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. I think we're gonna have to start calling it adding the gold in because this is about to be an every week thing that we're that we're doing this. Yeah. What a week! What a week! Highs, lows, everything in between. A lot of stuff going on. One of the busiest weeks in Joshi wrestling in a long time. Yeah. I don't have much else to say. I got here late because I ran to Dunkin' Donuts to get me and my niece donuts and myself a coffee. So I am highly energized. I ate a donut with my beloved niece, and we're here. And if all went according to plan, you are looking at new podcast art.
Mhm.
Yay! Again, if all went according to plan. If it didn't, well, let's talk about it next week or
I
whenever.
think it worked. It seems like it's
I'm
working.
sure. I'm sure it will have worked, but we have the doctor working on some little small things right now as we speak on this podcast. So yeah, shout out to Vamisoft. Is that how you pronounce it?
Vamosoft?
Vamosoft. I'm not quite
Vamos?
sure.
Does it be like Vamos?
That would make sense. It's at VAM. There's a zero in there. Hold on, I need to read it very properly. There's a zero. I'm sorry. It is at VAMVIS0FT. She's an artist and she is tremendous. And we got her to help us out with some new art since the AOK era is kind of dead and buried, so to speak. We thought it was the right time to change it up a little bit, and we changed up the art style as well with the new artist. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
got to win because I was like, use Vamos
yes,
for like ages, and Dylan was like, I don't know, and then I was like, do it, and he went, okay, fine. But yeah, I'll put the at in the description like I used to
mm,
for Grunty, and I'll just keep it there. So if you ever want to get commission from her, you can. If I'm pretty sure those are the correct pronouns. It is because Nina it calls her by she her, so I think Nina would know.
yes,
Like Nina
yes.
would definitely understand pronouns. Um, but all right, that's that. The show is brought to you by the Five Star Podcast Network. Head on over to the fivestarnetwork.co for all of the great articles and podcasts from across the wonderful world of wrestling. And head on over to the Five Star Network YouTube channel, where this show goes up and some other stuff goes up, like Actress Stage and the No Limit Wrestling Show. And there are some interviews every now and then. I think is Steve the guy that does interviews, or is that a completely different website?
What?
Who does the interviews here?
A lot of people do the interviews here. What do you mean?
I know there was one guy who did them, but I don't know. I'm a bit detached sometimes.
I'm not gonna lie. th- I think their screen name is Squilliam that did a recent interview that I liked on the Five Star Network. Um, I also worked with them earlier. Uh, otherwise, do they do all the interviews? Have they
I
done
don't
all of the
know.
recent interviews?
You know,
Now you got
you'll
me.
learn
Now you
once
got
you
me
go over
questioning.
there.
Well,
It's
no,
it's all
K
right.
K does K does a lot of the Dragon Gate
Written
interviews.
ones, yeah,
Yeah.
but like the
Um,
video ones are usually the one person I thought. Um, you know what? We're okay. I keep getting pinged. I don't know what is pinging me, and it is hell on
what a
earth.
great what a great start to the show this week.
Like we don't have like loads of shit to talk about. Anyway, let's get into the show, Dylan. We have
Yeah.
some news. We have some
Mm.
interesting news. Now Cacta, as some people may know from TJPW, formerly of Actress Girls, is retiring. I don't know when exactly her retirement is, but before her
I thought it
retirement,
was like the next week, but apparently not.
yeah, I don't think so. But before her retirement, she's going to host a produce show, kind of under the TJPW banner, because TJPW was all over the backdrop. So I'd imagine it is a Tokyo Joshi Pro event, but
Mm,
it is to honor Nao Kakuta's retirement. It is called Cross, and what's interesting is it will have not one, not two, but three different representatives from Stardom involved. So
mm.
the opening match of the show on July 6th is Cherry versus Kakeru Sekiguchi with a special referee, Himeka. So, first Himeka
That's wild.
sighting for a lot of people in a long time. These are all, well, I don't know about all. I don't think Cherry was in Actress Girls, but these are former Actress Girls. Himeka came from there, Sekiguchi came from there, and everybody in the main event came from there as well.
Yeah, I mean, Cherry's been around for a very long time, to be fair.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
she probably worked in Actress Girls at some point, I imagine, but I also don't know. Um, I'm discreetly kind of looking right now. Yeah, she wrestled an actress for none of the time that the other ones did, actually, looking at it.
Oh,
She was
fun.
2019, 2020. So, oh no, I guess that would be around the period uh that
Yeah.
Kakeru and Himeka were both there. So yeah, um yeah, these are all actress girls, or at least former wrestlers over there. Himeka put on Instagram that she has no idea how to be a fucking referee, but she said she'd do whatever she needed. They
Yeah.
needed her to do, and here we are.
It's cool to see her. It'll be nice to see her back.
Yeah,
Maybe she'll get the bug. We were very bullish on her
Himeka's
coming
very
back,
funny.
right?
Himeka's very funny because like she's definitely the type who will be in a battle royal in 10 years.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in like several, like over the next like I don't know if she'll get the bug, but like she will be the Momoe Nakanishi, where she just like shows up because it's like I don't know, I could still wrestle. Like I don't, I don't really give a fuck. Um, you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if she got the bug and came back. I don't know what she would do, but um,
That's a good question,
yeah,
but
because
I think
I
there would
think
be
a
a world
big
of
part of her
opportunities.
was that it was like almost too cutthroat of a
Mhm.
situation, and like I don't know. I'm not trying to put everything on Marigold, but it feels like that was kind of a top company in the world type of problem, maybe. But we'll see. Obviously, all of her friends are still in Stardom, so again, we'll see.
Not to focus too much on Himeka, the main attraction of this event is obviously the main event, which is Soriano and Natsupoi representing Stardom against Tei Hanma, formerly of Actress Girls, and the retiring Now Kakta in a special tag. And what drew people's attention is obviously this is TJPW wrestler against Stardom wrestlers. So in some ways, this is the first TJPW Stardom crossover. People have obviously run with this and been like, "Oh my god, are they going to work together?" I'd imagine this is just for a retiring wrestler. Most fences tend to come down for retirements.
This is true.
It feels like we're just a year removed, and like you know what, most of the people making this point probably don't even know this happened. But like Jumbo Forever was literally a year ago, where fences fell down and everybody just came together to celebrate Jamaica. So I imagine this is the same. And Coda's comment was very much like, "Yeah, we're not gonna say no, but I don't like doing this, so you know, it's whatever." That's been Coda. That's TJPW. They don't see the value
Yeah,
in
I
that sort
think
of
people
stuff
are very strange about that. Like they forget that Rossi and Coda are friends. Coda just is
as
very
buds.
strict about his like about that specifically,
Mhm.
about working with companies bigger or equal to them. Like that's just Coda's philosophy. It's not even like, oh, he like because there are wrestling companies and wrestlers who have heat with Rossi, who will work with Taro Okada and won't work, like Aja and whatnot. But Coda had like that's not a thing. That's not a problem. Uh, Coda's philosophy is just don't work with companies bigger than you. Which
Well, in
comes from him
Japan
being a
anyway.
yes, yes, obviously. We see how that worked out otherwise. Um, but just like coming from he was a JWP guy, wasn't he?
Neo. He was Neo.
Was he Neo? Okay,
Yeah.
same difference. Historically, it makes sense why he feels that way.
Yeah, I mean he's been consistent in like not wanting to do. He doesn't see the value in it apparently, which I kind of get because I think
Yeah,
I've often looked at the AJW crossovers and been like, wow, they all killed their momentum very quickly there for some shows. So maybe he thinks the same. Um, if there is any more Stardom TJPW stuff to do, I'm sure it would have happened regardless of who was booking Stardom. Because as you say, Rossi and Coda get along. It would just be because everybody's been pushed together. So, but
Yeah.
I don't expect it. It doesn't seem like Coda is all that interested. So, this is just to celebrate Naokakta, because she obviously had a bit of a weird retirement, given that her tag partner disappeared and she lost tag belts. And I imagine that's why she decided to retire. It's like, wow, I finally won the belts and it's taken off me. I'm
Yeah,
done.
that was,
You know.
I like now, but that was kind of her ceiling. It felt
Hmm.
like, was like being a top level tag champion over there. And so once like her big break happened and it just didn't, um, yeah, it probably kind of pushed her to be like, I don't really need to do this anymore. Um, she was a good hand. She was a good hand.
I liked her. I always liked her, even when TJPW was a bit more iffy to me, and they didn't have the crazy rookies that they have now. She was like really reliable, I thought. So yeah, I'm gonna miss her, but that's a fun match to go out on. The Poyano getting back together, bringing the squad. I'm sure there'll be a lot of love riddle dancing and whatnot.
Yeah, I was gonna
So
say, are they gonna do the Love Riddle dance again?
yeah, they need to invite Mio. Mio Momono loves it, and she like wasn't even in Actress Girls, but she adores the love riddle
She's
dance.
so
So
real.
I gotta ask her. This is a bit of news. I didn't actually bring it up to you, and I don't know if we can just talk about it a little bit. Stardom's starting this like branding thing of Stardom Nighter in Corkin. So they have some Corkin dates that are during the week in the evening, and they're branding these and advertising these as cheap tickets. So it's almost as if they want people to, after school or after work, it's like, oh hey, we have like a cheap thing for you to do in the evenings on Monday through Friday for Corkins, which is it's kind of interesting. I wonder how it'll work attendance wise.
When
'Cause
are they planning on that?
the first one is July 4th, and there's another
Oh,
one on July 23rd. So those ones are during the week, during Monday to Friday, and they are kind of late in the evening, so people who are finished work or finished school can go to them, and the tickets are cheaper as well. So I'm kind of interested in that. It's kind of a weird strategy to get people in the door, but it could work at the same time because I find a lot of cities nowadays. Maybe Japan is different, but a lot of cities are like there's nothing to do in the evening unless there's a pub, right? So
yeah.
maybe there's a market there for
Us
people who just want
especially.
to
That's yeah.
yeah, like maybe there's a market there for people who just want to go see wrestling, like in the evening on a Wednesday or something. So that I'm kind of interested in that. I thought
I
I'd bring it
imagine
up.
it's a similar idea, but probably I imagine it'll be an easier, it'll work out a bit better than that the Waka idea
Oh
where
yeah, yeah,
she was kind of like, oh, let's have like for like a foreign friendly show, and it's like, well, there aren't that many like foreigners in Japan just hanging out in the middle of what was it, November, October?
yeah.
So like just like seasonally wise, it didn't really make much sense. I think that like having shows that kind of like cater to very specific audiences that you can kind of capture, pricing down, like stuff like that works very well. I'm interested in what that kind of turns out to be. It could be a good endeavor for them.
Mhm. It definitely seems like it will aim at a different like base of fans. It's not
Mm.
the jobless weirdos who stand the wrestlers. It's like, hey, you want to finish your accounting job? Come on, hey, you finished your classes? Let's go. So I am interested in that. I wonder how that'll work out for them.
Mm.
But it's interesting to see them try stuff like that. You always got
Yeah,
to
for
try
sure.
stuff. Um, that's the only news. I think we might as well just get into the big stuff, the review of the two shows. Mayu's movie came out on the 17th, but like nobody is going to be able to see it, so there's no point really talking about it. I
A
didn't
buddy of mine went and saw it.
um
Um,
the same person that
Probably
I saw
it is.
talk
Yes,
about it. Yeah.
yes.
I don't want to
Um,
spoil it for anyone. And I kind of was interested in some of the metrics, but there are no metrics to find because I don't speak Japanese well enough to find
the
them.
the
So,
one metric I
'cause-
saw is that the re-release of Mayu's book that happened upon the movie releasing like sold out. Um,
oh,
it not like not like nationally, but it sold
Yeah.
out in like a lot of places. Mai was saying that's like holy fuck, like the store I go to, it's completely gone, and the other store is completely gone. Like she's kind of surprised that like it's the book is reselling very well.
Mhm.
That was a cool little thing.
Yeah, I was hoping to find some like box office information because it's been out for over the weekend, but I don't know how to find that. But we'll talk about the movie someday if we can see it. There is some trigger warning stuff in there. It's quite the dark movie at points apparently, so just kind of beware. Um, Most people will know, I think, the dark stuff that happens because she has alluded to it on the wrestlers thing on Vice, but
Yep.
she does confirm it, and I'm sure it's not pleasant. So just be careful if you do find a way to watch the movie. Um,
Mm.
Beyond that, then we had Stardom Flashing Champion on weekend. I somehow went onto the schedule for Flashing Champion and not the results, so that's that's on me. Um, we are going to start with Stardom. We're just going to do Marigold after. I think that's
Yeah,
fair
I think
because
chronologically that makes sense.
yeah, like Stardom was first, Marigold was second. I don't know how we're going to format the show now. There's two different companies to cover. Sometimes we'll probably put Marigold first, but generally, if there's two pay-per-views or big shows, we'll probably just do them chronological order. So, Flashing Champion
Indeed.
was first, so that gets precedent. It was on May 18th. It was in the Yokohama Budokan, and they had 927 fans here, which is kind of a poor number. I won't lie to you. It's down a
I
lot from the Cinderella first round.
I thought it was way worse than it actually was precedent wise. Because they've done a few 900s in Yokohama Budokan. I thought that was a very bad number. I was very shocked that this was
Mhm.
like kind of par for the course in recent months outside of tournaments. Um, they've been doing pretty weak numbers in Budokan uh, in the past 6 to 9 months, I would say. So
Yeah, I think they flew a
this
bit
isn't
too
like
close to the sun because they just had a bigger
yeah,
pay-per-view in Yokohama 3 weeks ago. Like, why
and
would you
also
go to
the
this?
show
And
on paper isn't good. Like it is not worth. If you went to the last Yokohama show that happened a month ago, and you want to go to, or you went to the Korakuen that happened a couple weeks ago, which is not, Tokyo and Yokohama are relatively close to each other. Um, and then you want to maybe go to a show next month, like this show is probably the one that you could be like, you know what, I'm gonna sit this one out. Especially since like some of the cool matches on the card didn't get announced like 3 days beforehand.
yes, yeah, they really got to promote this better. I do think that maybe this is just the relying on the white belt to draw is kind of ballsy,
Yeah,
especially with an unproven challenger like Ami Sorei. It was her first kind of big match post the new eras, so
and a newer champion, not newer champion, but like a newer star of your company in Hano
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Like it was risking a lot. Three or so weeks after a bigger show, I think they were asking for trouble. So it wasn't a great number, but I can't say I didn't expect it to be low. But I didn't think it would be this low. I really did think they would get 1,000 at least. But that's how we're operating. I don't know how Marigold affected it because Tokyo versus Yokohama doesn't seem that in it wouldn't hurt it that much, but maybe that's the
It it
reality now
it
is
would,
Marigold is gonna eat into that ticket buying audience.
yeah, because I mean, like, if somebody is in Yokohama, they can easily take a train to Tokyo, and if somebody's in Tokyo, they could easily take a train to Yokohama. So
Yeah.
if people were deciding, oh, I want to go see wrestling today, it very much eats into the same market, or
Mhm.
want to see wrestling this weekend, right? It eats into the same market. It's not like Tokyo to Osaka, right? Like
Yeah.
it's relatively close, like I said. So I imagine that probably did eat a little bit, but not like enough to where it was like, you know, I don't think Stardom would have done 1,500 if Marigold ran next weekend instead of this weekend, for example. But
Yeah.
it probably
Yeah, no, that's
lost a
fair.
good, maybe 50, 100 people. Uh, and that's just me guessing.
That's alright. Um, the opening match then of the actual night was, Suzu Suzuki and Mei Seira wrestling to a 15-minute time limit draw with the natural is it Natural Love or Mutual Love? I think it's Mutual Love.
Mutual love.
Mutual Love team of Natsupoi and Starlight Kid. Um This was just the great match that you wanted to start off the show. High energy, well worked. A lot of Kid Suzu stuff, which is obviously, I mean, I'm into that pairing. I thought they did well
Mhm.
together.
Yeah, this left a lot on the table because it was a draw, and you could tell that there was like a second half of this match that didn't happen.
Mhm.
Um, but that being said, I thought this match was very, very good. They love putting Kid in position to make a hot tag, or they love having Kid get beat down to hell and then making a hot tag. Now she's a babyface, and I think that's pretty cool. She was rocking her old 2021 gear, I think, like right before she turned heel. This was the gear
Mm,
that she wore. Um,
yeah, I could see
like
it.
when she was the defender of stars
Oh,
after
yeah.
Tam abandoned them and all
Does
that
look
shit.
very MK Sisters coded, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is her MK Sisters gear, more or less. So yeah, she was wearing that, and yeah, I thought this was a very, very fun match. Did you know that Mutual Love? I don't know if you ended up watching that the first video of them that ended up getting translated um by one of the fan translation places. Um, but it was basically, for some reason, the Stardom roster regularly gets asked, if you were gay, who on the roster would you date? Which is very funny to me. Um, and I think they both said each other. Uh,
Yes, yeah, I have heard that, yeah. Poi said
yeah,
Kid and Kid said
so
Poi.
Poi was like, so we have mutual love, and Kid's like, you are taking that very seriously. And that's where their name comes from. So I found that kind of very funny. I don't think we ever
Mhm.
touched on that, but yeah, I thought that this match was a lot of fun. Suzu was kind of like doing some of her shtick, which I think is better than most people's shtick. She was doing the SLK chants. She was like just kind of she did her big
So
drive by
nasty.
drop
I
kick.
love her.
Yeah, she was just being a fucker like that. I loved when she teased doing a moonsault and then Kid just grabbed her leg and locked in numero dos. Like she's like, "You ain't doing my fucking move, motherfucker." And I thought that was a great
I love
spot.
your
I
turnaround
like
on
this match a
Kid.
lot.
It's so great. You're just like, "Kid is
I
awesome."
was saying this last week. I think Kid really, like, there it is night and day. Um, for me at least, because it feels like she's just like, okay, I'm gonna go out there and have fun and wrestle well like I do, instead of like I think she has less to think about, which is a good thing.
Maybe,
Uh,
possibly.
because it feels like it's all second nature. I think she's just a natural babyface,
Yeah, no, she is.
and
I mean,
I think that very much helps her matches. Is that it's just like, oh, I just like she could do this in her fucking sleep.
I do wonder if the draw is setting up for Kid and Poi's challenge for the tag belts
I
because
think it is.
there's no obvious challengers otherwise, and you know they didn't beat Crazy Star, but they did draw with the last set of tag team champions, which feels like a very easy way to say, "Hey, we want a tag title match." You might as well do that because are teasing a lot of faction movement with both Poi and Kid, in the interviews and stuff. So I would imagine this is a team that will split before long, just to go off in their own directions. So maybe you want to get the tag challenge done as soon as you can.
Yeah, I definitely think they should challenge for the tag belts because, like, we need more challengers like that. Especially if they are breaking up,
Whoever
then
Poi
FWC
pairs
can
up
get a.
with in it from FWC, like that's crazy. Either one of those and
Oh
Poi
yeah,
just going crazy. Like I love it.
Poi and Koguma have like very underrated chemistry together. Like I
Mm,
don't like they work very well together in all of their tag matches against each other. So yeah, I mean that's a match I would run immediately. Um, and then you can get another notch in FWC's belt. And yeah, if this team does split up or just kind of fizzles in the next 6 months, which I imagine it will, you at least get that tag title challenge. That will probably be very, very good.
definitely. Um, The match after that then was Micah defeating Hanako in just under 10 minutes for the Michinoku driver number 2. This is a good match, but it definitely was lacking in that there was nothing really to grab onto. Like there was
Mhm.
no real strong storyline coming into this. It was just I suck, so I want to wrestle, and then Micah beat her, and that was kind of it. Um, it's probably the better show, one of the better showings from Hanako recently. She went back to basics of just being a power wrestler, and I think Micah is really good to work with that. But I do think they could have been helped a bit by better booking of just this match having something to grab onto.
Yeah, I think. The crowd didn't help it. The light crowd, as we both have learned. Apparently the crowd was a lot hotter than it felt here, but because it was so there weren't it was a light crowd, and because the audio sucks, it felt like they were wrestling in an empty arena a lot of the times. And this was one of those cases where you kind of wanted it, and it started to heat up a little bit down the stretch, but not enough to
Mm.
kind of pick it up. Um, yeah, I think this would have worked better on a New Blood show. Um, it kind of felt out of place on this card, though not much felt in place on this card, if I'm being completely real. Um, yeah, I thought it was pretty slow and pretty long. Some of the stuff really hit, but a lot of it just didn't for me. I
Mhm.
didn't think it was bad by any means, but I did think that it was probably miscast in this instance. Like I said, I think on New Blood it would have worked very well.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Um, the next match then
Oh, and Michael Owens
was
concussion bomb into the Michinoku driver, which
yeah,
I
that was cool.
appreciated.
I did like that. Um, Next match was the Ueda Tai team of Rina and Fukigen Death teaming with Azusa Inaba to defeat the EXV team of Mina Shirakawa, Xena, and Waka Tsukiyama. Rina pinned Waka in 13 minutes with a diving double knee drop. Um,
Can I say, and okay, I liked quite a bit of the show, and I'll get into it. But for right now, I'm kind of shitting on it. I apologize. This was the longest 13 minutes of my life.
yeah,
Okay,
there
no,
was no
actually,
need.
2 days
There was
later,
no need.
it was the longest 15 minutes of my life. But still,
Okay.
this was a very long 13 minutes. Um,
Yeah,
it wasn't necessary at all.
it wasn't. And the weird part is the best pairing was Mina and Azusa, and there's like there's no heat there between either of them, and
No,
Azusa's probably not gonna wrestle Mina again anytime
and
soon.
it was very blank and you miss it. They're pairing off against each other. It lasted a
Yeah,
couple minutes, but it like it was well worked, but there wasn't really much to it. It was just them
yeah.
kind of sparring and then getting out.
It was
Uh,
nice, like, it definitely
yeah,
elevated the match to me, but it was like, "Okay, what are we doing here?" Um, I mean, I get Oedo Tai parts of Oedo Tai have targeted Mina, but it's never felt like Rina and Fukigen were doing that, so this could have used a Momo or a Natsuko or a Tekla who is targeting Mina, to say like, "Hey, we're coming after you."
yeah.
Because instead it was just a house show tag.
It was
Um,
also very funny that Walker got pinned.
yes, I don't. They're really building up Rena, and I guess maybe it's to make her the real centerpiece of New Blood because that's coming back. And whoever beats her is obviously going to get a pretty massive boost out of it because they have booked
Yeah,
her pretty well. But yeah, I was kind of surprised she got the win. Also, shout out Xena. That like double submission thing was cool.
the
Xena's
gory
really awesome.
special Billy Goat. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
sick.
Xena's cool.
Also, Daga with the Riz of the Year. Um, he was like it was a clip of Xena doing that move, and he was like, "This is absolutely beautiful. Can you look at this for a second? This is amazing. The move is also very cool." And I was like, "That's what it's all about. That's my junior champion right there. That's my guy right there." That was real.
we we
Shouts
we
out Daga.
stand Daga in this house.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Um, Speaking of Oedo Tai, they won our next match, which is
Uh,
a gauntlet match to determine the Artists of Stardom one contenders. So the team of did they break this down match by match?
they
No,
they did.
did they?
Yeah, so
Oh,
Lady C
kind of.
over Aya
Yeah.
Sakura, and then
Oh, they
Azumi over
did. Okay.
Momokogo, and then yeah.
The team was Momo, Tora, and Thekla of Oedo Tai. They last beat the God's Eye trio of Konami, Sayakamatani, and Suri. So this is a pretty good match. All of the first two falls were fun, just like everybody kind of going out there doing their
I
thing.
was shocked how good the first fall was. I was like, this is like the rookies from Angels and Lady C and Miyu and Azumi. It was a lot of Lady C, and I was just like, oh, this is fun.
Lady C did a choke
Like,
slam. We were up.
yeah, she did very well in this gauntlet. I was quite surprised.
The match did kind of change when Ueda Tai came in. They were
Yeah,
very heelish right from the off. They like attacked straight away. Um, Tekla got the win for her team over Miyu initially in 4 minutes with a poison drop. She like had Evan pinned, but pulled up her head just to hit her move to like dig in the extra heelishness. And I didn't hate the Oedo Tai heat, but it was one of those times where I was very upset at the production because I think Tekla like grinding on Saki's ankle is such
Mm.
heel 101. I love it. It's just I'm nasty and I'm mean. The crowd not being able to hear the crowd boo, it's like, okay, you're just watching her like rub on Saki's ankle.
Yeah,
And so I think it takes away from a lot of the good heel work that Oedo Tai does. When you
I did
can't
think
hear the
that
crowds.
their work was better in the God's Eye match than in the Queen's Quest match. I thought the Queen's Quest
Yeah.
match was very weak between Queen's Quest and Oedo Tai. I thought the God's Eye match generally, like you said, the Tekla Sakashima stuff, I thought was pretty well done, and then it ended with Momo and Konami going really
Oh, that
hard
was
against each
awesome.
other.
Yeah, Konami
I thought
and Momo was
that
great.
was great. So like that closing was a lot better than the previous, but yeah, I think something is missing with Oedo Tai in terms of just like I agree. It felt like it was just like kind of dead air, which again is a production issue more than anything. But it definitely felt like once Oedo Tai got in there, it was a bit less uh, hype.
A little bit, yeah.
As hype as this gauntlet can be. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's you know.
I did like that this match was one of the more consistent stories. Like the Tekla thing is one of the big arcs they're doing post Buntai. So her and her team winning was a very logical next step, and I'm glad that that was kind of how they went. Like this, the story asked for a way to tie to win here, 'cause then Tekla can face off with Mina, which is kind of her thing of I'm going to kill the idols. EXV has the main idol. So I think Ueda Tai was always going to win this one, and them getting so hard behind them going into that match is nice from a booking perspective. I will give Taro credit there. Um, Definitely, yeah, it was a bit iffy on the last fall holdouts. It's we have elections coming up, so they're all knocking at
Ooh,
the doors. Because we have like 6 parties, unlike America, we have like so many different parties, so
that's
they're
so
all coming
based.
to the doors. Not really, they're all a bit shit, but
Oh yeah. No,
um,
yeah. Well, you know,
yeah. So the guy, he was like, "Yeah, I'm campaigning," and I was like, "Cool, um,
good for you,
sure,
bud.
yeah,
Now get the fuck out of my house.
yeah." I thought this guy was a different party. Maybe he must have changed. I must look into that. 'Cause I thought he was representing another party last time. Must have a look. But yeah, anyway, I liked the Oedo Tai winning. I do like them. I think Momo and Tekla have been built up pretty well recently, so they are a credible
Natsuko doesn't
challenger
wrestle
to
anymore.
EXV. That's true. But I think they're like credible challengers in XSV, and I there's nothing wrong with credible challengers going into a title match. I think those are good to have. So Tekla having an aim for the next couple of weeks will probably do her and a way to tie some benefit. So I liked this. The match was okay, but I did like. I will give them credit for having the story, given that I did just complain that Mike and Hanako didn't have one. So I feel like I have to praise here when they do have one.
Yeah. Uh, I'm looking at it. They're kind of inching towards like Momo and Natsuko being like all timer artist champions. Probably not
Yeah.
because I remember back in the day, motherfuckers were holding that shit for like
But yeah, I
17
didn't
times.
Viper
But
have it like 6 times.
yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
probably wrong, but like, because do you think that they win that?
Hmm. I don't know. I feel like this
It's a
is
pretty uncalc like you can't, especially because when you look at EXV, it's kind of hard to pin any of them except for Xena, but they've been pretty
yeah.
protective of Xena, relatively speaking. Um,
Hmm.
it's interesting. It's
If you
definitely
want to
interesting.
move on from Mina, because they've been a bit weird with Mina since she started picking up American dates. Maybe they just want to move on from her a little bit. Um, but I think I think this Tekla character, this is probably as far as it goes. I don't know if they ever move it to like a white belt situation. I think her ceiling might be artist tag kind of holder. So I think this might be they
Oh,
might
wow.
belt up this new Tekla character because this might be as far as they go with it.
Apparently, Oh yeah, I guess Natsuko wasn't in that. Natsuko's only held it twice, and Momo's held it 3 times. So
Hmm.
neither of them are anywhere close to Io and Mayu and Kairi, who are
I
like
did
5 and
like
6.
at some point after the match, Tekla went after Xena. She was like, "You're a black hole of charisma," and I was like, "Oh my god, I said that a year ago." That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is kind
It,
of crazy.
it's
We
not
no
true
longer have that
anymore.
stance.
Like it's
Shouts
yeah,
out
it's not true
Xena.
anymore. Xena's pretty
Um,
beast, but
she
yeah,
has a
it
pretty
was
cool
crazy.
vibe. But yeah, no, that is a good one. Tekla.
Get outside of my head, Tekla. I know we're both European, but like you can't be copying my gimmick.
I mean, she likes taking other people's chicks. So at least
Oh my
you are
god.
smart.
Okay, all right. That's
I mean, her finish is literally called the 3D.
that's
Like
fair.
that's another that is a different finisher, a very famous finisher.
Oh yeah, it's true. Well,
But yeah.
that was fun. She's gone after Xena, so maybe her and Xena will be the pairing instead of her and Mina. Who's to
Hmm.
say? Maybe she considers Xena an idol.
Ah, uh,
I don't know. We'll have to
who
see.
knows?
But anyway, that was the gauntlet.
Yeah, it's her
Our
official
next
nickname now, by the way.
what?
Is the Idol Killer. They announce her as that.
Oh, that's cool. I guess. I feel like it would work if there was more idols, but
Yeah,
I don't
there's
know.
like 3, and she's not beating any of them in a one-on-one match. So
She
maybe
might beat
Poi.
one. Yeah, she might beat Boy, but yeah, she wouldn't beat Tam. But anyway, that's the art situation. Our next match is a high-speed championship match. Saya Kamatani beat Saya Ida in 11 minutes with a Frankensteiner. This appears to be her high-speed finisher. This is how she wins her matches now instead of the Star Crusher, which isn't very high speed, or the Firebird, which I guess isn't high speed either. Um,
She has like 7 finishers, but none of them are high speed. So she says, Flash Rana, let's go.
yeah, why the hell not? I thought it was a pretty good match. I kind of like this direction for the high speed belt of you're going to see somebody like Sai Ida adjust her style to wrestling a bit faster, doing a few more roll ups, doing a few more like counters and stuff like that. Because I thought she adjusted really well,
Mm.
and I'm interested if they continue in this direction. Who else we see change up their game to try and take it to Sai Kamatani? Because Kamatani's very high speed coded anyway. She can probably bounce off of just about anybody. Um, so I feel like as long as the belt is on her, you're gonna have a pretty safe division because whatever her opponent tries to do, I think Kamatani will get it back on track. If it doesn't work, if it does work, then you have a cool match like this.
Interestingly enough, I talked about this with widescreen briefly. That Sai Kamitani's kind of like floaty in her high octane offense. So like a lot of her moves, it it's interesting. They're not very fast. They aren't very high
Hmm.
speed. But all of her moves are associated with what you would typically like presume with high speed, high flying type of stuff. So it's very interesting in that sense how like the dynamic works. I love this match. I thought Saya Ida had a great showing here. I thought Saya Kamtai had a very good one. Um, I loved the way that Ida kind of like came up with sequences that fit into the high speed style. Um, that she doesn't always do. She did certain like little counters and certain, like I said, sequences, kind of reminiscent of like Kohaku. I think Kohaku's really good at that sort of thing, where meshing moves together so that it's all like a fluid motion. Ida was like really like doing that at certain points in this match. I really loved that. Um, yeah, I mean, it's different from the high speed title of the past, like handful of years, maybe 6 years. Um, because yeah, I mean, even Mario Apache was a bit different, and that was when it shifted to Mario Apache Hazuki. Um, so it's been a while since like you've seen a high speed title, like rain and like style like this. But I'm very excited for it. I was not let down by this by any means. I'm excited to see how Kamatani can continue. I kind of wish Ida won just because I want to see her do more high speed matches now. You know what I mean? I think that was like my one negative from this match. That I was like, man, Ida is really good at that style. I want more.
Yeah, I feel like she in future could like be be somebody who holds this belt, especially if they
Hmm.
keep it on the journey that they're going, where it's less an insulated division and more just whoever. Because this is definitely a belt within her range. So
Definitely.
I would like to see an Ida reign one day with this, and I think her issue might just be that she's less stable for opponents to bounce off. Because I think
Mm.
Kamitani is just so consistent that no matter who they have, she'll make it work. But I don't know if Ida could.
Yeah,
Um,
and operating in a style that isn't very much her own.
mm,
Um, for Ida, I mean, because like we've seen what Ida's style is usually, and it is a bit more, uh, you know, stand and brawl sometimes, where it's like just hit me as hard as you can, and I'll hit you as hard as I can, and we'll fall down eventually. She has a bit more of that, and she didn't do that at all here. So yeah, I get what you mean, where it's like Saya Kamatani can really embody this, and other people can like try test this style against her. Um, whereas I think Ida, she probably needs to figure out how to work that style a bit more, you know, uh, regularly if she
mhm,
wants to have a high speed title reign, which we'll see.
yeah.
I agree with you. I think one day I hope that she grabs that belt.
I will say I will credit them. I think this belt is one of the big wins of the new regime. I was very unsure when Saki won it in a random three-way in America and then lost it on V1 in a random four-way. But they seem to have just
I mean, I'm
opened the
still not
doors.
happy what they did with May Sarah. I don't know what the fuck that was about.
That's fair, but
Um,
I do
but
think them
yeah,
opening the doors has definitely been better for everybody. Almost. I mean, does Ida get a singles match on pay-per-view without the belt opening its doors? I don't know.
probably not.
So that's where
Probably
we're at
not.
now.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed our
That
next
was one of my
match.
favorite. That was one of my favorite matches of the show. Probably top two.
Our next match was Arisa Nakajima and Tsukasa Fujimoto of the Best Friends beating Mayu Iwatani and Hanan of Stars. Tsukasa pinned Hanan in 21 minutes with a Taio-chan bomb, of all things. Um,
She said that is actually kind of fucked up.
yeah,
She said shouts out the last good wrestler in Stardom. Um,
it's crazy.
and that was her
Um,
take, not mine.
oh, that's fair. Um, yeah, that was kind of what we had projected this would be. Hanan gets left alone to contend with Tsukasa and eventually gets the shit kicked out of her. They did actually kind of take a good route to that. Mayu was in there for a long time, mixing it up with both Arisa and Tsukasa. But then, yeah, once it was Hanan, it was just like they were just ruthless. So ruthless that the crowd booed them. And you could actually hear the boos coming through the screen. That's how much people were upset with them beating the shit out of Hanan. Um, so I thought as antagonists, the best friends were pretty awesome. Like they were just reveling in beating the crap out of these two in their own promotion.
Oh yeah, they were
Um,
real evil.
oh yeah, like crazy. And Hanan is obviously an excellent babyface, and Mayu is an excellent babyface. What I really liked was down the stretch when Tsukasa and Arisa had just beat the crap out of Hanan for ages. Mayu gets in to break up a pin and she's just pissed and she starts like trading forearms with Tsukasa. I was like, this is what I imagine their singles match would be like. Mayu is
It's
going
very
to
funny.
be very angry.
It's very funny because Mayu like saved a lot from this match.
Mhm.
Um, like she did what was necessary for her to make this a great match, but nothing more. Because like
Yeah.
even Arisa started kneeing her in the face, and like she like busted her eye up. Like that
Mhm.
that was how fucked up Arisa was to Mayu. And one of them you could see Mayu kind of like resist, and it looked like she wanted to get up and just start beating a motherfucker up, but she's like, nope. She's retiring. She's not who I'm. She's not who I'm. Wrestling next. I'm not building against her. I can't get up and beat the fuck out of her right now. Like you can just kind of like see her like her body language like shift, and she's like, I'm not gonna do it. Like she
The
did against Sari, where she like at a certain point she's like, you know what? Nope, nope.
yeah.
I'm getting up.
She wanted to punt Sukasa so bad she actually missed the kick. Like I've never
Yeah.
seen her miss a kick. She was so ready to throw that shit. Oh, we might have to pray for Sukasa, man. She might be walking into the belly of
No,
the
that
beast.
that was the thing with Arisa. I was like, Arisa's retiring soon. If Mayu gets up and just starts bludgeoning her, there could be a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a great match. I think
Yeah, it was
everybody
great.
can agree. Like,
I didn't even get to talk about how like I thought Hanan just did such a great job selling everything. Um,
well,
she
that's what
truly
she
did
does.
just yeah.
She gets people on side. It happened in the Ano match as well. She was just so fired up that people got behind her, and they were
I
so behind her
wonder
here they were booing.
I wonder if she'll have the problem that a lot of non-Mayu baby faces have in Stardom historically. Kind of like the Tam problem, where it's like Hanan's such a good baby face underdog that one day she'll just not be that anymore. Because she's just gonna have to start winning. Because she's gonna be the ace. Uh, she's gonna be a huge deal. I wonder if she could make that jump as well as Mayu
Yes.
did in compare. I think so because I mean, you look at the Sariano match, she fucking dog walked her.
Hmm.
Like she that was like a very heavily hot on match, and I was very happy with that. Uh, but you do look at some wrestlers. I know I'm not you know not everybody feels this way, but it felt like Tam lost something when she was no longer that underdog. Um, and others like her are similar. Um, I think Micah, the one negative about her title reign is that she doesn't feel like she's fighting from underneath anymore like she was last year, and I thought that was what made her year last year so great. Um, so it is kind of an adjustment that will have to be made. I'm interested in how Hanan does it. I think she'll do a great job, but just watching this match of her just getting fucking obliterated, I was just like, she is like such a great sympathetic baby face. I'm gonna miss it when she's the motherfucker who's beating people's heads in. Uh, but she'll do a great job at that as well, I'm sure.
After the match, Mayu got on the microphone and she asked Kasa Fujimoto to challenge for the IWGP Women's Championship. She did accept. Tsukasa accepted, but was like, "I want one condition. Next time we fight, I want it to be in my ring." I think a lot of people took that to be that the title match would be an ice ribbon, but I doubt Stardom gives that away. So it's probably gonna be another tag between Mayu and Tsukasa in ice ribbon, and then they do the big match on a Stardom pay per view. I think Ice Ribbon
Possibly.
has a Corkin next month, so I would assume it's there. Where
The
else would you
one
do it?
the one interesting thing is that backstage, Arisa started saying our ring. So it's also possible they do it in
Yeah,
Seedling.
I think she did kind of be like, "Oh yeah, like there's not only Stardom, there's Ice Ribbon, but also Seedling," and like maybe they could do a match there as well. But maybe they just have Stardom in the retirement match. Like maybe that'll be it. Arisa's retirement show will have Stardom on it.
Possibly. But
Yeah, I think they'll probably do a
I don't know.
tag on the Ice Ribbon Cork and
Yeah.
Mayu, and then because I don't know if I don't see them giving an IWGP title match to another promotion. I'm not sure. I'm not sure Brucey Road would be okay with it. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's going to be interesting to see when they announce that. And yeah, Mayu and Tsukasa is going to be insane whenever it happens.
Man,
Especially if
looking at
Mayu is very annoyed because that would be
yes.
incredible.
Looking at the costumes that best friends are wearing, it's always so funny how just murderous they are. And then they like cheese in
That
their
and their entrance
bright
theme.
pink and
Their
their entrance
entrance theme
theme
is
and
just
like you know what I mean?
poppy, bubblegum, catchy shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Like imagine getting bullied by these two. Like
I
it's very
know.
easy because they will kill a bitch. But like looking at them, it's just so funny, because like Arisa, for as much as I love her, she is an older woman, um, and like this older woman who just kills people, just cheesing in her pink and fucking tie dyed, like it's just it vibe wise, it's so peak Joshi wrestling that these two are. They are the embodiment of Joshi wrestling, of motherfuckers who just wear like the most, color splash outfits with the cute entrance theme, and then they just fucking hurt people legitimately. It's great,
Yeah, it's a real dying breed.
indeed.
Um, so we'll have to wait and see more from that. But I'm very much into Mayu versus Casa and
That's
whatever
more.
they can do. I liked how Fujimoto was like, they were like zombies. They just wouldn't stop. It was like we'd be still beat the shit out of them. So that was great. But our next match was I kind of forgot this had happened. AW TBS Championship. Willow Nightingale defeats Tam Nakano in 17 minutes with I can't remember the name of it, but the power bomb,
The babe with the
Doctor
power
Bomb.
bomb.
Was it not a Doctor Bomb or something?
It is the Doctor Bomb, but
Okay.
she calls it the babe with the power bomb
Okay.
because her nickname is the babe with the power.
I like it. Everything about Willow is so great. I gotta say,
Oh,
I can't lie.
Willow's like one of the
She's
best
so
wrestlers in the
awesome.
world. I am not gonna lie.
She's
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 especially in North
great.
America, like easily a top tier. But yeah.
Um. Anyway, yes, I saw a lot of conflicting thoughts on this. I saw a lot of weird stuff. People being like, "Oh, this was Tony Khan's fault that this wasn't good," and I'm like, I don't.
What?
There's a
Hey,
lot. There's a lot of reasons to critique Tony Khan,
yeah.
but he did not. He didn't do this. Um, this
This
having
was
no
good,
story was not
by
his
the way.
fault, and it was good. I think Willow is so good in Japan because she just
The
lays her shit in, and it works.
yeah,
And
the funny thing is
Tam
you
worked
can
to
go.
that. I
Sorry.
think Tam didn't work a normal Tam match. She worked the Willow style. I thought she adjusted really well. So I thought this was a really good match. I like really enjoyed it. And I think Willow just is so awesome in Japan. I said this on Twitter, but like get her in a 5-star and pair her up
Yeah.
with small, fast wrestlers that she can just beat the hell out of and watch the magic happen. Because even Tam adjusted to her, but I think somebody like Kazuki could adjust so much better. It would just be insane.
Yeah, ooh, that's a good shot actually. But I watched this match twice. I watched it live and then I watched it again with Xavier and Scott. Um, and the first like when I watched it live, I was like, "Damn, this feels like a good match that nobody cares about." And like that kind of sucks. Like it felt like there was like a lot of the show kind of suffered from this. It felt like there was just a general atmosphere problem with this match more than any other match on the card. Uh this match was the most noticeable for me. But then I rewatched it and like, when you're not like paying attention to the sounds of everything when, I like I said, I was watching it with Scott and Xavier. So we were kind of like talking over, we were just watching it kind of casually. It was a great match. You know what I mean? Like when you're not like hyper focused on every aspect of the wrestling match, they just did very good wrestling. You know what I mean? Like physically, this was a very, very good match. So it's kind of hard for me to like rate in that sense because at first I was like, damn, this feels like it has no heat. It feels like it feels like there's just nothing really like to bite into, similar to the Himeka or not the Himeka, the Hanako Micah match. It just felt like there wasn't much to like really grasp onto. But upon second watching, I was just like, you know what? Like when you sit and just like appreciate what they're actually doing in the ring and like don't focus too much on like the weaker atmosphere, they did tremendous against each other. I thought
Mm.
this was also a very, very good match.
Yeah, honestly, if I was Tony Khan and I saw this, I would be asking to Tam over. Like she really fit with Willow. I thought really well. Um, and yeah, I thought Willow. I love just Willow just laying her shit in. Honestly, like, and you can hear the impact of her lariats and stuff.
Yeah,
Like I would love for her to get a run in Japan. I think she would be so good. So I this is a welcome addition to the show, and I'm gonna we'll do our like closing thoughts after the next match, but there was a lot of variety to the top of this card that I think should be appreciated because a lot of people for a long time now have been like, "Oh, I don't like the Stardom style; it's become too homogenous." This wasn't a very homogenous show. Like there was a lot of different stuff on display. I thought,
yeah.
and this match brought something completely different to the table. So if this is what the AW partnership is going to be for Stardom, I don't think I can complain. Just keep some of the other wrestlers away, but keep giving us Willow.
It's
Maybe
crazy
send
that
Chris
you're
next time.
the Mina Shirakawa fan are saying this.
Yeah,
'Cause she's
listen,
definitely the biggest loser out of this partnership.
listen, if she gets to make her bag in America, then so be it. That is what Mother deserves. So I hope she gets it. Yeah, that match. I had a good time.
You're just hoping
What
she's at
else?
All In so you could see the dance
That would be
from
cool. Yeah,
70 million miles away.
I think I'm closer than that. I don't know
Oh,
though.
are you? Well,
Yeah,
because I just know stadium shows are like I don't
yeah,
like
they
yeah.
aren't great, but yeah, it's not too bad. Um, The next match anyway then was the Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Sorei Ano beat Ami Sorei in the main event with a Japanese Ocean suplex hold in 24 and a half minutes. I had no idea this went that long.
Oh, it
Um,
felt. Did you not? Damn, I think we have different opinions on this one.
I thought this was great. I thought this was the Ami Sorei coming out party. This was Ami Sorei telling me to shut the hell up. This was like
I
everything I think Ami has lacked for a long time. She
yes.
felt like she had the spark in this one. Like even the early stuff where she was just going after Anno. I've never seen her that determined to just beat the hell out of somebody. Speaking of Anno, that entrance, have they always done the flickering light behind her? Because that was immaculate. Oh my god. The cunt was served. Holy shit.
Jesus.
Um like I remember just seeing that and I was like, dude, how have I never noticed this before? This is immaculate. Um yeah, I thought this is a great match. Anno is in the prime of her career. This was the kind of performance that made me think she was last year's best wrestler. Because when she's on, and she makes everybody else better. And I thought Amisore really stood up and was like, you were gonna take me seriously. Like I deserve this spot.
So it's actually shocking because I've been the one that's been like, I think Ami might be good for like the past few months. And I'm lower on this match than you are. I like this a lot, but it did feel long as shit. To me, like it felt like I was like, are they about to push 30? Are they about to do the draw? But it turns out it was less than 25. I thought they called 25. Oh, it was like 9 minutes in because it just felt like an extra 8 minutes on it. Yeah, I thought it was Ami's performance was very, very good. I don't think it was like her best match or anything, but I think it was one of her best performances. I think it had the same pitfalls that a lot of Ano big matches have, where it kind of has certain periods of dead air, and Ami is not the person to kind of fight against that necessarily. Um, but I thought that it felt like a very good performance from Ami, very good performance from Ano. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, we're gonna have to stop." People are gonna have to eat crow and say Ano is good, um, or not Ano, say Ami is good. I'm waiting on the 5 star. I turned off my monitor. I apologize. That was weird. Um, I'm waiting on the 5 star personally because when she's limited to 15-minute matches, I think that's when I'm gonna really see if she's like good now or if she's still, has her consistent problems. But this match was a good sign. Um, she's had several good signs this year. I thought the Cinderella was good. I thought that this match was good. I'm excited for Ami's 5 star to really see like if this is a full-time change for her, that she is actively like, you know, uh maybe not a top wrestler in the company, but she is a deserving upper mid carder in the company
Yeah.
because I think the 5 stars is where I'm really going to see that because I think this match for me, like I said, I think it suffered because of it felt just so long. Um, it felt like they were going for a long time. If they tightened it up a little bit, very often my problem with Ami matches, if they tightened it up a little bit, I think I would have liked it a lot more because I thought it was good. But uh, you know, you can only do so much when you're Ami Sourei in a 24-minute match that to me felt like it was 28.
That's fair. Um Yeah, I don't want to stick on this too long because we do have the whole Marigold show still to go.
Yes.
My overall thoughts on Flashing Champion. I thought it was a very strong show. I thought it was a little light on storyline stuff. I will say that there wasn't a lot. Didn't set up a lot. There wasn't a lot of movement going on, despite the amount of things they kind of set up a week
Oh yeah,
after Buntai.
that sucked after the main event. Ano
Yeah,
called Poi up, and then she was like, "Actually, now we ain't wrestling."
yeah, and I think I
Like,
know
what the
why.
fuck?
I think they're saving that match for the split show. They're doing like 2
Yeah.
pay-per-views back to back, and one
No,
is
I
called The
actually peeped
Wonder
that
and
as
one is
well.
called The World, so I think that's where they're doing Poi Anno because they know it would sell as a main event. Um,
But what do they do for the conversion?
I don't know. Um, but yeah, I think this was a strong show. I think the match quality and the roster really saved what was lacking in terms of storyline stuff. And I did like the variety in the top 4 matches. I think the top 4 really brought different things to the table. I mean, the best friends match was different to the Saya match. AEW match was completely different to the main event. And, I can at least appreciate that. And I think as much as the I want more from Stardom right now, I can't say this was like a bad show or anything. Like they delivered, and that's kind of all they have to do.
Oh, watching it live, wasn't great for me. But I recognize that the show itself was pretty good because
Yeah.
you really felt the kind of lack of direction watching it live. Because like I woke up because I worked a long ass shift before this, and I went to bed, and I woke up at like like 20 minutes after the show started, so I went back and I caught up. And I was just like, damn, I woke up at 1 a.m. for just like some good wrestling, but it after I finished it, I was like, where are we going?
Mm.
And I think this was where it was like an issue. Because the matches were good, especially the best friends match. Very good. I loved the Sai Kamatani Saida match as well. Live, I wasn't as big of a fan on the Willow Tam as I said earlier. And Ano Ami, I was a little bit lower on than others, but I recognized it was good. It just felt like I was like, damn, what did I stay up for? Because like
Yeah.
it kind of went right through me. You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
recognized it was a good show, but it just went right through me. I was like, okay, that was yeah. And now, 3, 4 days removed, there's still no cards for the next weekend. And I have no idea what they're doing anytime soon for anything except for the one number one contenders match that they did on that show. I know that match will happen at some point, maybe. I think that was where my problem came in with the show, is that I was just like, I don't know what we're doing, honestly.
Mm.
Uh, I think it went right through me is like kind of the perfect way to put it. Because it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad show. I was just like, okay, but like, what, you know,
Mhm. No, that's
I don't
fair.
know.
That's fair. Maybe I'm just easier than you when it comes to like a show that
On certain
wanting to
things,
enjoy the
yes.
show. Yeah. Um. Yeah. That was Stardom. Definitely stuff to work on and improve. One thing being that, I mean, it's been 3 days since the show. They haven't run again. There's no cards for this weekend. I think stuff like that really needs to be improved. They give you very little to look forward to. Even when you want to look forward to things, they just don't announce anything. So I think that's one thing that I really want them to improve on. Um, with that, it is time to go on to Stardom Quest Gold. We have a
Ooh.
review of Marigold Fields Forever, the debut event for Marigold, Dream Starfighting Marigold. Again, we're going to go through this match by match, and then I think at the end we'll just give our full thoughts on the show, because I don't think by match really sums up how great the show was from a
Hmm.
vibes point and stuff like that. So we'll go over it all. The opener was Nanai Takahashi beating Victoria Yuzuki in
Well,
14 minutes.
first, very briefly, I would like to mention that the opening cinematics and ceremony all super well done.
Yeah,
The opening VTR was beautiful. The ceremony where they all came out through the crowd, I thought that was a lot of fun. I
that's
thought
one of
that
my
like the
favorite
the
bits.
presentation was very, very just great.
Hmm, I think the
So,
roster assembling is one of my favorite visuals
oh, me too.
that nobody does anymore. Or we just don't see it on the videos. I guess they might cut it from other promotions, because I think Sendai still does it, but then they don't air it, obviously.
Wave
But
does it,
yeah,
but
like I look back at Gaia, the big Gaia shows, and having the
yeah.
two splits. I think back to Dream Slam, where like all the
Oh, Dream
wrestlers were
Slam
in
was the
the
coolest thing ever.
yeah, like it's a great it's a great visual, and obviously it's a lot of effort to do, and I can see why they don't always do it, but it is one of my favorite things
It
when
sets the vibe.
promotions do it. It does definitely. Um, the opener was Nanai beating Victoria Yuzuki in 14 minutes. Um, I'm gonna be very long-winded, and I apologize in
No, you're
advance.
good.
Seeing Yuzuki walk out in the like gold and yellow representing the promotion, strutting her stuff, soaking in the moment, it was like watching the future Ace take her first steps. And then I think the match with Nanai was like, I don't know if anybody here has seen Haikyuu, but in episode one, Shoyo wants nothing more than to play volleyball because he thinks he's gonna win. And then he plays volleyball against Kageyama, who's insane. He gets smacked around, right? Like he gets trounced.
Mhm.
And that sets up the arc of the entire show. Shoyo is the protagonist of the show. And in episode one, you're introduced to the mountain that Shoyo has to climb, which is to get on the level of Kageyama.
Mhm.
And I think that's exactly what this match did. Yuzuki is the protagonist. She is the future ace of Marigold. But here, today, when she thought she was going to strut her stuff, and I beat the shit out of her and sent her packing. And
Yeah.
If you cannot
And
understand the easy long-term vision there, I don't know if Japanese wrestling is for you, because this is generally how they tell stories. This is how they've told stories for decades. Like, this is very easy to understand. Yuzuki
and I
had to
thought
lose here.
it was so fascinating with Yuzuki because like there were flaws in her game, like both in
Mhm.
kayfabe and out of kayfabe.
Yeah, but
But
the
like
slaps her
none of
slaps
them
weren't good enough. You gotta
exactly.
fire
That was
people
it.
the
That was
fuck
what I was
up.
about to
You
say.
gotta
Was
get
I
that
was like
crowd roaring for you, and she needs to improve at that stuff. Definitely, yeah.
I was like, "Oh, these slaps are weak as fuck. Do you know that you're wrestling Nanai right now?" But like it didn't make me be like, "Oh, this match is shit." It was like, "No, Yuzuki needs to get better." And like that's the entire point. Her crashing on her face. Obviously that wasn't on purpose, but her face planting off of the attempted double jump bulldog, right? And then Nanai just grabs her into a crossface. It's like sometimes shit doesn't work. What are you gonna do afterward? Like, what are you gonna do about it? Like, you got it. I agree with you. It felt like it was just, and I don't want to wax poetic, but it felt like it was just a perfect way to show that Yuzuki is gonna be a big deal. But right now, come on, your arms are just too short to box with an eye. Like
Ah,
that's just
ha,
what it's all
ha.
about.
I love it.
Like, and man, I will praise Nanai until the fucking cows come home. Um, she's still one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, she's just so good. Man, she hit a lariat that sounded like a shotgun,
Mm,
and like on par with Mirai's later, who she threw two that were just absurd. But Nanai just wiped her out.
mm,
And Nanai's in great form right now. I texted you. She doesn't even really need to be. Like she could be out of shape. I don't think she's been out of shape in like recent memory for me at least. But she could be out of shape. She could be slower and just like not really. And she's smart enough to kind of like make things work at least to some degree. She's notably in quite good shape.
mhm.
She's in really good form going into Marigold. I think she's going to be a giant addition to this roster, a super important one. If you don't like Nanai, you're gonna get sick of me. But I'm gonna keep saying it because this was just what you need from this first match. I
Mhm.
really liked it.
Definitely, and I think both of these wrestlers, I think the presentation is top notch. Yuzuki's
Yep.
gear is exceptional. I think she has one of the better themes from the new crop. I think Nanai's
Mm.
theme is great. Honestly, it's very
It's
Nanamomo coded. Like, it feels like
yeah.
something she'd have used back then, and it's very catchy. And I kind of think it
I
really fits
hate
her.
I hate that she changed her because I love
Yeah,
Nanai's
I will miss
big
that. I
boss
will miss
theme,
the final
but
boss theme.
the song's good. I liked it a lot. It was a
Yeah.
vibe. I appreciate it. I was like, and it kind of hurt because I was like, damn, I hate that I'm bopping my head right now. This is really good
Yeah,
because I love the old theme, but I'm happy with the new one as well.
definitely.
Oh, and
Um,
after the match, Yuzuki refused a handshake from Nanai, so
mhm.
Nanai just started beating the fuck out of her and yelled, "You ain't ready! You ain't ready!"
Yeah,
As
that was great.
she like limps away, Nanai's just yelling, "You ain't ready, kid!" I was like, that's so. Oh, I adore Nanai.
And then I did what she needed to do excellently. I think
Mhm.
Victoria Yuzuki was put on step number one of future ace of this promotion, and everything about this was exceptionally well done. Um, and then I don't know if you have anything else on that match, but I really want to get
No,
into the
no,
next one. Okay,
we're good.
so our next match was Miku Iono beating Nao Ishikawa in just under 9 minutes. I think the point of this was for everybody to love Iono, but I came away super impressed with Nao Ishikawa.
Same.
I've never in my life seen her do any of this stuff. She is reinvented. Like, even in Ice Ribbon and stuff, she didn't wrestle like this. She just completely changed to this, like, the different gear style, the different, like, way of attacking, the throwing the suplexes and stuff. Like, this was a completely different wrestler.
She's always thrown the suplexes real good, but
She
yeah,
has. She did the German, but she did, like, some cooler ones here. And I did learn afterwards that a lot of her stuff was actually a tribute to Asahi.
yeah,
As people know, she
yeah,
passed away early this year. Would have wrestled with Now in Ice Ribbon. So the gear, her entrance gear is like an orange take on something Asahi used to wear. And
yeah.
then that one fucky suplex she does where she, like, picks them up
The
sideways and just
two-step
tosses them.
half Nelson slam
Yeah, the
overhead
two step.
suplex gimmick.
That
Uh,
was Asahi's finisher, I think.
yeah, the
So
sunshine.
it's actually really nice. A lot of her stuff is actually a tribute to Asahi, which is lovely. Um, and so I came away blown away by Now Ishikawa because I've seen a lot of her, but I never knew she had any of this in her game, and I think she instantly becomes somebody that I'm really interested in on this roster. Um, Miko Aono, I mean, people know she's awesome. I think I maybe wasn't blown away by her because I've expected this from her. Like I said from day one, she was the best signing they had, right? Like I just expected this. Um,
There's
so
a reason
I
she's on our art.
yeah, that's true. So I thought, this was just really, really good. Really well done. A good showcase of both wrestlers. I did have something that I wanted to put in as well because I did promise somebody something. Okay, so our friend Heart Editing, he asked to be on the show. But I was like, no, obviously, I don't want a third voice on an already 2-hour show. Um, Hart used to watch Joshi, kind of fell out of it. He used to listen to the show and everything, but then he stopped watching Stardom. So why listen to us? But he came back in for Marigold, and I asked him what he thought of the actress girls. And for Miko Aono, he said she was unreal. I legitimately understood why people talk about her the way they do. The moment she came out, I thought her gear was top tier and unreal. She delivered in the ring too. I thought her corner drop kick was some of the best I've ever seen. So, for a completely new fan, Aono blew him away, which I think is what they were trying to do with this match.
One thing I loved about Ono's performance, because I'm similar to you, I expected good things out of Ono, and I was uh incredibly impressed with Ishikawa. I'm a now fan, like I am, and like me and you
Yeah,
have kind of like sparred on this a little bit. I was like, you should be more excited about now. She's kind of sick. I think she's cool. Um, and I'm happy that I was kind of proven right in that. But Aono did a great job of like subtly targeting Nao's leg. And I thought that was a cool kind of story there, because like I don't know, just kind of like like she would slide and kick Now's leg, and like it would kind of like, oh, now sells a little bit, and then it would like, set in motion the next kind of sequence of maneuvers. And then what ended up happening was Now was like in such one-upsmanship role, like that was like on her brain. She like just started doing the same thing, and I thought that was a very well done story here, was that, like, Now felt the need to, like, one up, I don't know, in every regard, or at least try to.
mm,
Because Now doesn't throw kicks, like, that's not really her thing. She does sometimes, but it's not like, it's not what you think of when you think of Now Ishikawa. But she was like, "No, I'm gonna start, spinal checking you. I'm gonna start kicking you in the back and stuff, snap nair, kicks." And it didn't really make sense, but she was just like, "No, I need to prove that I can do everything Aono does, but better."
yeah,
But she couldn't, and that was kinda like her downfall eventually, was that it's like eventually Alana just got too much of a lead, that she just ended up winning. But I thought Now's limb targeting against Alana was really interesting. She got the ankle lock in, and she got dragon screws, the most PTSD inducing maneuvers in my personal viewing of wrestling.
of course,
Because Hiroshi Tanahashi used to always beat all my favorite wrestlers after selling for 30 minutes. He would just get a dragon screw, and he would just start he would just get the comeback. I'd be like,
a
motherfucker.
beast.
Um, and so yeah, I love that. I thought Now did a great job. I thought Aona did a great job. This was one of the I love both of these singles matches right here. This and the Mirai Chiaki match. I thought
They went
they
three
were
for three.
yeah,
I
I
think.
thought they were
Yeah.
both very, very good. For different reasons, but yeah,
Mhm.
I really like this.
I think these two as well, gear wise, music wise, top notch presentation. I think Aono
Yeah.
looks every bit the star they want her to be. I think Ashikawa has a really good theme,
You
based on what I
know,
remember.
Ishikawa, she got a tan. And it's
Yes.
it's a very pronounced tan. And
Yeah,
you
she.
sometimes that doesn't work. But I think she
I
looks good
don't.
with it.
I don't think it worked. I think it's just her gear was so good that everybody was willing to ignore the NXT tan. So it's
Okay, maybe that is also maybe true. I think orange kind of, complements it a little bit,
yeah.
but it was a very pronounced tan.
Mhm.
Uh, and I don't know.
I
I
think
thought I
she'll
thought
obviously fix it.
yeah,
Was
I
a
thought the look
mistake.
wasn't as bad as it could be, because I've seen bad tans.
That's true. That's fair. Yeah, I'm Irish. I have seen bad tans. When we
Yeah.
discovered tanning
Oh
beds, people
Jesus.
went a bit crazy. Yeah. So that was that match. The next match was Mirai beating Chiaki in 11 and a half minutes. Um, I also forgot to say this did 1,500 at Cork, and great number, like
Oh,
really, really good.
we could talk about like all of the insane stuff, like all of the great
Uh,
things
oh
it
yeah,
did
we can do that after.
post.
We'll leave that to
Yeah,
the end.
because we
So
don't have a
Mariah,
website to like go down in order
yeah,
like we do with
yeah, it's a
Stardom.
bit annoying. So Mariah beating Chiaki. I think Chiaki had a good introduction. I'll take you to heart editing once again because I do think it's interesting to get the perspective of an outsider.
Yeah,
He said Chiaki is one of my favorites. Was invested in this match anyway, but the crowd chanting for Chiaki and seeing her get all of her shit in was a great example of somebody losing but looking equal. And he also pointed out that Chiaki's selling was great.
yeah,
So, I mean, Chiaki, just from her presence and her look, already like captured heart and is a big favorite of his, which I think is kind of what Chiaki is about. She's very
yeah,
charismatic. She's very you're. I think her. I don't like her entrance theme as a wrestling theme, but I think it's a good song. Like I think it fits
yeah. No,
her.
I agree.
But it's a little bit too generic at the moment. But
I
we'll,
don't
you
think
know,
it's even generic. I just think it like vibe wise is interesting.
yeah,
Because it is very like high octane. It sounds like I don't know how to even
it's very emo
describe it.
pop punk. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like a skateboarding theme,
yeah, Tony
right?
Hawk Pro
It
Skater.
sounds like yeah, babyface Cora Jade. Sounds like something
Yeah,
she would come out to if she wrestled in Japan. Like that type of vibe. So
yeah.
it is a bit straight, but I like the vibe. I thought it kind of was a mix with what I kind of expected Chiaki to be like, but
Mhm.
with what Chiaki actually kind of like showed to me, I liked the presentation of the theme, the vibe, everything.
That's fair. Yeah, I did like Chiaki's look as well. I thought the gear was great. I think Chiaki working slightly heel was pretty good. You can already see what she's going to be on this roster. She can do the power stuff. She can move well, but her excellence is in being a bit of a shithead and letting the baby faces play off that.
I
So
thought it was so funny when Chiaki got thrown outside of the ring and Mariah's like doing head springs and like
yeah.
taunting, getting all excited. She's like, "I'm gonna do a fucking dive, guy!" And then Chiaki just gets back in the ring and gets an iron claw on her head. She's like,
Oh
"Motherfucker,
my
we slowing
god,
this down."
that was crazy. Mirai snorted everything, and Chiaki was upset that she didn't get any. Like
Yeah,
that
Chiaki's
was the
like, "What the
vibe here.
fuck? No!" Like she's like, "I am not selling for that long, okay? You are taking your goddamn time. I'm getting back in there." But I thought that was a really funny little moment there.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
Speaking a little bit more on Chiaki, I think you can kind of see where like physically she might be a bit more limited, but
Mhm.
it was completely overwhelmed by both her charisma and her just strong moveset. I mean, she threw
Yeah.
a Lashley spear that I just like got super excited for. I was like, that works. That works for Chiaki. Like that's a cool move for somebody like Chiaki. Just small things like that. I was like, you know what, she has improvements to make physically, but just overall, if you aren't looking for it, you won't notice it because she has it right. She
Mhm.
she like gets it, which is you know arguably the most important aspect of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she's shown what she can be for this roster, and I'm very excited to see what she does.
Likewise.
Um, but I don't want to take away from Mirai. I think
No,
Mirai
I
is
think I think Mariah is equally as important to to like dive
honestly,
into
I think
because she.
Mirai is like the number two biggest winner from this entire show.
Mm,
I think the hair and the gear is such an upgrade on the Stardom look. She looks every bit the star that I think Rossi has always seen her as. Like she
yeah.
just looks the part of a big star. And she was probably the most naturally over person on the show
Oh
until the
man,
main
the
event.
fucking streamers, man.
The streamers, the crowd was going crazy for her. Like this match mainly worked because Chiaki was able to work heel with the most popular person on the show.
Yeah.
This if they can keep this up, I mean, they have a runaway train on their hands because she in the ring was insane. I mean, her lariats were crazy. Her performance was great. As you said, she did a head spring and was just going nuts for no reason.
Yeah,
If
that
she
was
can
that
keep
was a
up
big
that
part is
energy,
that she's faster, right?
yeah.
They made it a big point in the media that she slimmed down a little bit. She's doing a lot of cardio, she's running a lot. She's really, getting that explosiveness up,
Mhm.
right? Which was always her cool thing in Stardom. I always go back to that Ida match where they were just running at each other and just
Yeah.
murdering each other. That's always
People
been
love
kind of like,
explosiveness.
yeah,
Goldberg made an
it
entire
works.
career out of it. Brock Lesnar
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar's last 10 years were based around the fact that he would go from just not doing anything to fucking people up. Like
Hmm.
explosiveness is the thing people love. If you can hone
100%.
that in, you've got a lengthy career ahead of you.
And so Mariah's really focusing on that, on like the getting more agile and getting faster with that. And you really saw that in this match. I thought that beyond just the crowd being obsessed with her and it making this match, even 10 times better than it already was physically. But Mariah was like like buying into it. It all felt, her confidence was there, which sometimes Mariah's confidence is like kind of noticeably a bit shaky in Stardom. And I think
Mhm.
the confidence was there for her. I think that you want to see her do well, right? Like
Yeah.
it just reminded me how much I love Mariah on those days that I love Mariah. You know what I mean? Like on those days when I'm like, this is my girl. She's so good. And it just felt like everything connected for Mariah here. And I
Mhm.
am super excited for her run going forward. Even the post match where she was just like a total goof.
Dude,
Uh,
her eating the corn and just being like, "I am
yeah.
in love. These crisps are amazing. Everybody,
And then
please have
then
one."
yeah, she goes out and she gives it to the trainees. She gives one to Chiaki. Chiaki's like, yeah, whatever, okay, I'll take it. Um, yeah, I just thought that like Mariah is just such an endearing character that you want to see
Mhm.
do well, and also she beats the fuck out of people. Like she did a headbutt, and it was cool. Like it was a
Oh,
really
that
well
was
done shoot
crazy.
headbutt.
Yeah.
It just worked super well. I love this match. I thought it was super super great.
You will be happy to know, Pep sent me this earlier. Rossi, in an interview, said that Mirai, Yuzuki, Iono, and Koki are the main people he wants to elevate with this promotion. So I think the
Mm.
Mirai thing is a long-term plan again to make her into a top star. So they're off to a good start with her. I think that's all for that match.
My last note is on Mirai is she should win everything forever. So
That's fair.
yeah.
Um, I like Mariah's theme. I can't remember it, but I did say in my little thread that I had to stop doing that her theme was good. So
It
good,
it
good.
worked because it fit the claps.
Yeah.
Uh, that was the big thing, was that it still allowed for the clappers to rise up.
It
Um, and the three claps was still loud and present.
worked,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah.
Our next match then was Mai Sakurai and Zeta Steel take wrestling Myla Grace and Nagisa Nozaki to a 15-minute time limit draw. Um, Gonna break things down a bit. I think Mai Sakurai has a great theme. I think her entrance is funny as hell. The fake cat is amazing. I'm very interested to see what Mai does in this promotion because I think even in ring I saw some new stuff from her, like the delayed
Mm.
kicks and stuff like that. I think she's maybe somebody who's going to be reinvented a little bit, but we just didn't get to see it as much in this match. So I will say I liked Mai's entrance. I liked her presentation. I think the theme is good. It really fits her. Um, yeah, this match wasn't good. I think they sabotaged it by making it go 15. I think that's a lot to ask of anybody,
Yeah.
but especially when there's no general. I love Nagisa Nozaki, but I don't think she's a ring general.
She's not.
Um, and
No,
I don't
she's
think
she's
Mai
one of my favorite
Sakurai.
wrestlers, but she just like she's not gonna get a great 15-minute draw out of two people who don't speak Japanese, my Sakurai and her in this
Mhm.
slot. It was just there was nothing Nozaki or Sakurai or
No,
either of the imports could do. I think people were a bit harsh on them because I
yeah,
think it was just kind of destined to fail in a certain way.
there's a
Uh,
weird
and
thing
they
with
weren't that bad,
no,
like
no.
individually.
There's a weird thing with people where once it becomes acceptable to be mean, they just be mean, right? Like I
Yeah,
think Ricky Starks is a big thing of this right now. It is acceptable online for some reason to be mean to Ricky Starks, so everybody just treats him like shit. And you're
yeah,
like, like why? Like why are you doing this? Like if I said that about Will Ospreay, people would send me death threats. Like, but you can say it because it's okay to make fun of Ricky. And it's kind of the same with the foreign wrestlers in Joshi. Like Joshi
mm,
fans are very protective of the Joshi wrestlers, and are very rarely mean to Joshi wrestlers. But it is open season on the foreigners for some reason, and people
yeah.
just go way too overboard. Because I thought Mila showed a lot of potential. It's like if you like, don't get me wrong, her and Zeta need to get better. They weren't good in this match.
Yes.
They need to get better. They need to, shave off that awkwardness because that was evident in this match. The awkwardness where people are just standing around waiting for stuff to
Hmm.
happen. You have to get that out of your game. But I thought Mila showed a few flashes there of a pretty competent wrestler, somebody who could add to a
I
match.
even thought Zeta, who like we were both
Yeah.
actively a bit worried about because she's an MLW wrestler. She's very American in her style. Uh, she's a good promo. Like that's kind of like
Hmm.
her thing for me is like she's more of that type of wrestler
Yeah.
that doesn't usually translate very well. But I thought that like physically she wasn't like her moves look cool. She like her
She.
enziguri's laid in, she has things.
Mhm.
She's not like I was expecting. I've seen worse. I've seen a lot
Yes.
worse.
Yes.
That's my point. From both like them
Zeta.
both of them.
Yeah, no, I'll give Zeta credit. She brought a lot more to the table than I thought she would. Like I was impressed by just how much she was able to do here. Um, so it's like if they stick around and they get chemistry with people, I don't see why they couldn't be having good matches by the end of the tour. I just think this was throwing everybody in at the deep end.
Yeah.
15 minutes is a lot. My Sakurai is a work in progress. The other two are work in progress. And again, Nagisa Nozaki is not a miracle worker. So I just think they sabotaged this match at almost every turn, and people have really taken it out on the wrestlers when I think they all tried their best to make it work. Um, that was kind of where I came at it from. I do have
Also,
one thing that I
oh,
dislike.
go ahead,
There was no need for this to go to a draw.
no,
Nagisa Nozaki should just be winning. She is a
yes,
far and above my Sakurai in any totem pole. She should not be
and even
languishing in a
so, you
feud
could
with
just
my Sakurai.
my
Just
Sakurai
win.
can pin Mila Grace, and then Nozaki could get that win back. Like it does not like if you want to be 50-50 with these two, just don't have like just pin one of the foreigners. Like
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Nozaki
Well,
could
I,
beat
I think
Sakurai this
Mila
weekend or the
might have had a
weekend
weird thing
after.
with Mila because she debuted, I think, in 2017, and I don't know if they're
Mm,
taking that into account of her being like really experienced, so they didn't want her to lose to Mai. Um, but then you could have switched the teams. You know what I mean? So yeah, I do think this didn't need to go to a draw. They really shot themselves in the foot. I think Nagisa should just be winning. She should
yeah,
be in the conversation with Mika Aono, not Mai Sakurai. And that's no offense to Mai Sakurai. I just said I like her like 2 minutes ago. It's just there's levels to this, and Nagisa Nozaki is a top level wrestler.
yeah.
So
No, I agree.
yeah.
And hey, Nozaki, I heard that she is number 21, which is my number.
Oh, nice.
So I love her even more. I
Hell
love her
yeah.
even more. But yeah, it was rough. Like this match, it failed. I don't even think it was fully on each individual's part. It
Mhm.
just it was never going to be a great match. It just but going 15 was made it worse. Yeah, their awkwardness. I think that Zeta and Mila, more than anything they physically did wrong, they just felt like they didn't know what to do in certain
Yeah.
moments. That was probably the biggest problem from both of them. And then like you said, Nozaki's not a miracle worker. My Sakurai is a good tag wrestler, but like not in this situation. It was rough. It was definitely the weakest match of the night, one of the weakest matches of the weekend. But I'm not completely out of hope for the the two imports here. Nor am I for even my Sakurai, and I'm certainly not for Nozaki. I think Nozaki has much better matches ahead of her.
Definitely. Um, the next match then was the Actress Girls Offer match. It was Chika Goto and Koki Amarai. Amarai? Amarai. It's Amarai. I
Amare,
will get this. Oh my god.
it's
Is
Ray.
it?
It ends with Ray, so it's
But I
Ama
thought the
Ray.
announcer said Rai.
Amare.
I'm pretty sure the
It's
announcer
not.
said Rai. Okay.
Then they said it
Whatever.
wrong.
Okay. Well, Koki and Chika Goto beat Misa Matsui and Natsumi Shozuki. This is our first big upset of the night. Koki
Yep.
getting the win is very Rossi coded. He said, "Oh, we got a tall androgynous wrestler for the world." I think the match itself, I'm a lot lower on than a lot of people. I thought it was fine.
Likewise.
Hart as well. Going back to Hart as an outsider with no real knowledge of these people, he was like, it was a fine match, and I didn't come away blown away by anybody. So I think I understand what this was meant to do. This is meant to put four of them together with people they have shared the ring with to
Mhm.
get the best out of them. But Shozuki then wasn't able to carry the other three along
Yeah,
to
I
keep
thought that
things going.
Shozuki was the one that was like, which I already knew. Shozuki was my favorite actress
Yeah.
girl. Um, but Shozuki was the one that was like, yeah, she's like, she's she's on Sata shit right here. You know what I mean? And that's what I love from Shozuki. But otherwise, I thought that they did good. But
Nothing
I
amazing.
agree. I was the second weakest match of the night.
Mhm.
That being said, I thought every match except for the 15-minute draw was good. Like this was a good
Oh,
match.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
like, it wasn't bad at all.
but yeah, I definitely I would agree generally that it was one of the weaker matches of the night.
I think Shozuki looked great. The gear is fantastic.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know whose entrance theme they came out to. I think it might have been hers, but we'll have to wait and see kind of on the next shows. Matsui has good gear as well. She always had really good gear. I thought I don't know if she like designs it maybe, but her gear has always been nice. And yeah, Koki and Chica look like a pretty solid tag team together. They definitely like play off each other well, kind of
Yep.
vibes wise. So I'm definitely interested to see them maybe in a tag division. But yeah,
Gochika
Koki,
threw good forearms. That was the big thing from
yes,
her is that
she
her
is big
forearms
and she knows
sounded
it.
great. She
She's
know,
like, I'm tall, I will hit you. It's good stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, Koki winning was pretty big.
The
We all
Goo Goo
know what
Gaga
Rossi's like here.
splash.
Yeah.
The amethyst
Um,
butterfly.
yeah, that's a brilliant name, by the way.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Both of
I
them.
don't. Is
Both the
that all?
amethyst butterfly and the Goo Goo Gaga splash. Um,
Okay.
Actually, during this match, Sonny announced that the tag titles will be introduced this summer.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so he kind of teased that. It looks like I wouldn't be surprised if Koki and Gochika are like either the first champions or are like in the running for the first champions
Yeah.
because I feel like they're probably going to keep with this tag team. They're the Royal Twin Towers. That's their team name.
Oh, nice.
Um, so it's like yeah, I feel like Koki and Gochika are going to be probably the tag team to start, right?
Okay.
And I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I
I thought
mean
they
that'll
did a
get
good
them
job.
reps. I think that's the thing
Yeah,
with
that too.
Rossi is he's not afraid to give you reps, and that's kind of what they need right
I
now.
think the other thing is that this match had to kind of like recover the crowd because the 15-minute draw did deflate it a
Yeah.
bit. So I think that also negatively impacted it. They didn't do a bad job of bringing the crowd back, but it was a bit more of an uphill battle in
Hmm.
that sense.
That's fair. After that, then we had our main event. It was Bozilla and Sari defeating Julia and Utami Hayashishita in 28 minutes when Sari pinned Julia. I want the entire world to forgive me for I picked Bozilla number one in the Five Star Network draft, and you all laughed at me. You all thought I was
It's
joking.
not the 5-star network drag. It was
Oh yeah, the Scott, the
5-star
Scott,
Joshi
the
show.
Scotty,
Yeah.
whatever. You all thought I was joking. You all laughed. Scott was like, "Yeah, you picked Bozilla first. Whatever. Your draft is over." I was right. She is a monster. She is a gem. And okay, I know it's kind of a meme, but I did say when I watched her, and kind of when I was on the show, I was like, she knows how to use her size. That was what I took away from the match I got to see of hers. And
Mm,
when somebody like that knows how to use their size, when they have that kind of IQ, there is always the hope that they're going to come good. And she just sped up the process, like she knew that she was big and she worked to that in a way that I haven't seen in a long time. She isn't Megan Bain or Awesome Kong or Aja Kong. She is something we haven't seen in a long, long time. She's probably the closest we're going to get to a Monster Ripper in the modern day. Monster
mm,
Ripper is obviously on another level. She was insane, very hardcore as well. She was like a lot more violent. But the thing with Monster Ripper was she was big and she knew she was big. And that was the basis of her matches was how the hell are you going to deal with me lunging at you? I think that's the kind of energy Bozilla brought here was how are you going to deal with me? I am a monster. I'm immune to your shit. And I thought that made for a very interesting dynamic. And I think she ended up coming away. Like Corkin loved her. The internet loved her. She's just such an interesting pro wrestler. She is unlike anything I've seen recently. Um, I think everybody worked around it really well. I think Utami and Julia bounced off of her fantastically. And
Even
Sari was
Sari
able to,
bounced off of her because
yeah,
Utami tossed her into her and Sari just sold it like death. It was the coolest fucking
yeah.
spot of the entire show.
You could
Sari just
they were having the
Dying.
time of their lives bumping around for this tall woman. So like Bozilla was a home run, and my instincts proved correct that she could be something. Because yeah, she is a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, this was such a seamless 28 minutes. I saw people online say this, and I don't even disagree that I think Julia was probably the weaker hand in this match. Um, just because Bozilla had this aura to her, legitimately. I'm not even like, usually I say, "Oh, I hate that I have to use this word." I am proudly saying this word when it comes to Bozilla. Um, she had this aura to her that just like every time she was involved, the crowd was obsessed with it. The like we were texting at this point. We were texting each other like through the match. We were just going insane. Because this was just it was so good. And like the thing is that Bozilla and like I haven't watched it back, but like I have friends. Sprite was in the building for this, for example, and he was like, there were instances that I don't. He was like, I don't think it really like came across as much on screen, but Bozo's still awkward because it's her first match in Japan.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
there's certain instances where like she didn't quite know what she was doing or where she was
Mhm.
supposed to be. She went for a pin, she wasn't legal, like like stuff like that. Um, but again, similar to Chiaki, it just felt like none of that mattered because it was Bozilla. Bozilla's here.
Yes.
Like it was just she hit a fucking jackknife power bomb better than Kevin Nash ever did. And I was like, this is so sick.
I do
Yeah,
I do agree
I thought
that,
this match was
and
tremendous.
I even said that on Twitter. I was like, if she can connect the moves better, if she can learn how to
Hmm.
like have a natural flow between the spots a bit better, she's golden. And obviously, I think if she needs to maybe emote a little bit better. I think just doing the mean
Yeah.
face is a bit too much for 28 minutes. Like you've gotta have a range of emotions to show off and maybe project a little bit more. But like, I mean, this is a 21-year-old woman, 20-year-old who
She's
is,
younger than me, which
yeah,
is
she's
insane.
really, really young, very few matches under her belt, like still very new. And she was a standout wrestler in a match with three of the best going. So I do think there's little stuff for her to improve on, but that's the easy stuff to do because I think she's got everything else that you need to be a big, big deal. And the fact that Cork and Hall was chanting her name after the match says a lot, you know?
And
So,
she after the show, there was a big meet and greet and whatnot that closed off at a very specific point in time
mm,
because they rented Corkin for only a certain amount of hours. And like people who were upset that they couldn't get their like, autographs and blah blah blah. Like Bozilla was like staying and taking pictures with all of them.
yeah.
Bozilla and her dad was like, "Oh yeah, man, of course you could take,"
Mm.
um I thought like that was like seeing that on Twitter was absolutely heartwarming of just like
She's building the relationship.
kids just like posing with her and stuff and
Mhm.
like her just mean mugging like it just she has like a very clear you know she's gonna be big in Japan. I think that's like
Yes,
the
yeah. She
she's
she has the Mariah May social media where you're like,
mm,
she's gonna foster a very tight fan base very quickly because she's not out here getting into arguments on Twitter. She's not doing any of the dumb shit wrestlers do. She's just like she's interacting with fans, praising her. She's liking tweets every now and then. She's making really nice, humble posts. Like that's
Josh
what,
Alexander took the biggest victory lap. He's like, yeah, I helped train her.
yeah.
We
Yeah,
helped
him
train her.
him and Demore. Yeah, him and Demore.
Yeah,
She was over with them,
yeah,
which is very beneficial as well, I'd imagine. But like she's got that social media presence that makes you like her, which not a lot of wrestlers have. That's one of the biggest
true.
issues with Twitter. Wrestlers are fucking dumbasses on there. But if you're a wrestler and you know how to use Twitter right, people will love you. Danhausen is a great example. A bunch of American indie wrestlers made a living off of being Twitter friends with people. Mariah May is probably the best example for Japanese fans, but Bozilla gives me a very similar kind of vibe of people are just really gonna love her, and she's not gonna do anything online to jeopardize that. If anything, she's gonna strengthen it. Because
Mm.
even her statement today was just lovely. I thought that was really nice. So
Oh, what'd she say?
she,
I didn't catch that.
she was just like, "Oh, thank you for the warm welcome to the fans and to the other wrestlers and stuff like that." It was really nice, like just lovely for
That's
somebody
awesome.
who just stole the show in a packed Cork and Hall.
I don't literally
Um,
everyone called her the MVP.
Yeah, Rossi
Like
even
Rossi
said it.
called her the
Yeah.
MVP. The media, like I want to say Tokyo Sports called her the
Mhm.
MVP. I saw Japanese fans calling her she like really made a great first impression.
Yeah.
And beyond her, I thought this match was also very good.
Dude,
Um,
we've spent all this
just
about
generally,
Bozilla and nothing about the intense Julia Sari preview, which was
yes.
awesome. Like they were going crazy. They basically had a mini singles match where they fucked each other up, and it was awesome. And we haven't even talked about it because of Bozilla.
We haven't even
Um,
talked about Utami, who I also thought had just like the quietest performance of the four, but
yeah,
also like the most consistently like every time you saw her, she was doing something of note,
yeah.
important. She was adding to the match. I thought she did a great
They
job as
they sowed
well.
a lot of seeds for Utami Bozilla, which I think
Mm,
Utami really works well with. We saw with Megan Bain. If you give her a monster to chop down, she is excellent at doing that. And they set that up really well, I think, in the
totally.
brief spots we saw of Utami. But this was the Julia Sari kind of preview, and they just ran with it. Sari is on another level. I know we've said this already, but like she's insane in the ring.
It's not fair.
No.
Like we're at the point where she just like I've rated maybe 10 Sairi met. All of them have been like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Let people catch up, homegirl. Come on.
Yeah, it's just what a match, what a great statement main event for Marigold.
Totally.
Not to go back to Bozilla again, but I do remember the one moment where I was all in was the no sell of the Irish whip, where she was like, "Nah, nah,
Yeah,
dog," and
like
just throws both
26
of them.
minutes in,
Yeah,
she's like, you think I'm tired? You think I'm tired? Fuck no,
I was running around the kitchen doing laps. I was like, "This is the best shit I've ever seen." um,
man.
so
People were I watched this whole show with English commentary because I really like Stu Fulton.
mhm,
I think he's one of the better commentators, especially in Japan. He's one of the better commentators. Um, and Sonny very clearly not comfortable on commentary, but he did a
he
good
hates
job.
it. Yeah, I think he really
Yeah,
doesn't like it.
he's
Poor
not a
guy.
I don't yeah, I've heard he's not too keen on doing it, but like, he speaks English and he knows the stories, so
Yeah,
Rossi sends him out there. He did a fine job. Like I talked to some people who they weren't as big on his performance on commentary and whatnot. I thought he did a fine enough job. This match really was like their best because Stu was just he knew every single moment they had to put Bozilla over. He knew exactly what to say. There was one point where Utami like threw a forearm and Stu just went, and that didn't even register on the Bozilla scale. And I was just like, oh, but like it just he brought that all together. At one point, Sonny, Bozilla was just going on a rampage, and Sonny just under his breath was like, Bozilla scares me. And I was
that's
like,
brilliant.
that is real. Like that oh, but like I thought that they added to the match very well. I just thought this match just like it encapsulated a very good vibe there, right? Um
Mm.
and yeah, I just thought that the match was super well done. Happy Julia lost. Um
Think that's good because
and
it tells
yeah,
us WWE will let her lose. Um,
that too. That too.
and also, I mean,
Um
Sari winning and then dropping the singles match is pretty standard. Sariism.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this match was a very seamless 28 minutes. I thought it felt justified, which sometimes these longer Julia matches don't. Uh, it felt completely justified. It felt like it just it flowed super well. I was very happy with the Bozilla Salt. Insane, insane.
Yeah, the fact that
Um,
she can do that and kept it under wraps is how I know she's golden. Because it's when wrestlers can do stuff like that but keep it in their pocket. It's like, okay, you get it. You get what it means to be big, to be a big bastard. Um, Aja could do that shit too, and so could Bull. Bull Nakano did a moonsault towards the end of her run. I've seen Aja do like through the rope dives and stuff. Like they can do
mm,
it, they just didn't. I think that's how you know they're very good at what they do is when they can do this eye popping stuff, but they keep it in their back pocket. So um, yeah, I think we'll just I need a breather after
very
that.
good.
So we'll come back to this. I need to relax a little bit from the Bozilla high. So the with Sari winning, that ended the main event. As you said, Tommy had a kind of a smaller role, but I think she'll be fine. She did set up enough stuff. even in her brief exchanges with Sari, to make you think, okay, there's something to this.
That was a lot of fun.
Um,
I liked
yeah,
the
it was.
Utami Sari stuff as well. I thought that
They were
they
good.
kind of they clicked for the brief periods that they were
hmm
in together.
Um, I think the post match that had a lot happening. I had a lot going on. They brought the two belts in. Julia held them at one point. Bozilla took the red belt off her and got a big pop. um,
Yeah.
so I don't know how they're gonna do it because Julia Sari is your obvious red belt thing, but then Sari is like, well, Inoki held the United National, so I want that. So I mean, Julia being your world champion seems very obvious, but maybe they'll change it. Maybe she'll be the white belt winner, and either Bozilla or Utami is the red belt. I don't really know. But I'm pretty sure the last person to hold the red belt was Bozilla, and Julia had the white one. So I don't know
You
how
know,
they're gonna
Saru
split
was the
that.
only one who wanted the white one.
Yeah, that's true. Um, Julia after then was also like, hey, Sari, you should come back and wrestle next weekend. So it looks like Sari will be on the Shinkiba shows. We don't know for
Yeah,
sure because they haven't announced any of the cards, which is
Julia kind of suggested that she be a regular so that they could wrestle
yeah,
more.
which is pretty
But
great.
you know,
We'll see.
unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. They also then had like a weird flower blooming thing that it was like, is the show over? But then it turns out that was them announcing that they will be running Sumo Hall. Was a Marigold Dream Destiny or something? Destiny Dream.
Summer Destiny,
Um,
Summer Destiny,
Summer Destiny, and it is on July 13th.
July 13th. Yeah,
Yes.
day
So
before Noah's Budokan show.
yeah, which I think is a day earlier than um maybe Fumi had said. I thought he said it was the same day, but maybe not. Um,
Maybe I'm wrong,
y-
but I
I don't know.
think
I thought it's either that or the 23rd, but I think it's the 13th. I would check, but
uh,
Marigold's website is awful. No offense, like that's the
yeah,
only bad thing about Marigold so far is their website is horrendous. It's 13th.
maybe. I'm
Okay,
gonna be real. The Marigold show is the 13th. Yes,
okay. So
not sure about the Noah one.
they had announced Julia versus Starry for that show,
Hmm.
which looked like either a white belt or a red belt match. Julia is now injured. They have announced that she has a fracture in her wrist. She's wearing a cast. She's been pulled from the Hanakamura show, which is in 2 days' time. Um, and they've
Replaced with
said
Utami.
she's replaced with Tommy. So it's Tommy and Venny. And they've said she will be out for the foreseeable future. They didn't give any estimate. She said in a talking event that she will be on the Sumo Hall show. So I think she
So,
is hoping to work hurt, maybe with a
s-
wrist splint or something.
so what it is that the recovery time for that injury is 6 to 12 weeks.
Yeah.
The show is in 7.
hmm
So theoretically, she could be fully healed, but that would be like like that would be like super optimistic. Um, yeah, it could be a problem.
Yeah. I could see her working hurt. She is a bit
She
weird
does that
like
a
that.
lot. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know if she ever recovered from her back injuries that she had like most of last year.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, this is her
Um,
first time off this past like month, so probably not.
yes. I don't. I could see her working with like a splint or something. Footballers wear them all the time on their wrists when they have like minor hand injuries. They're these like black
Mm.
yolks that go up and hold everything together. I'd imagine. So she might work with that and just try and work around the sore hand. Um, so that's kind of a big blow though to Marigold. I'd imagine that's why they haven't announced the cards for this weekend. They've had to reshuffle everything. Without
Yeah,
Julia.
I kind of expected them to come out today, but after the
And the
Julia
vibe we
news,
got, the vibe I got was that they had planned on announcing them anyway, but
yeah,
couldn't anymore. So I think they did plan, they were going to announce them, but had to change everything. So, which is fair, totally understandable.
she's
Um,
probably gonna be in the main events.
yes, definitely. So I think that's one thing to keep an eye on is how that could all shake out because I almost feel bad for Rossi. And like none of this promotion has gone to plan. He thought he would have a lot of wrestlers that he doesn't. He obviously thought he could build around Julia Sari, and now Julia is hurt. Like the poor guy has had a lot coming at him. What is interesting about the Sumo Hall date is WWE has announced a tour in Japan for like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
They're running 3 shows. They have Asuka, they have Io, and they have Kyrie all on the posters. So it does lend a lot of credibility to the idea that they will wrestle on that Marigold Sumo Hall show. I don't know what they do because it made it this main event made it look like Bozilla Utami would be a title match, right? Like they were very obviously paired off. At least I believe that. So I was like, well, if Julia Sari is one title, Bozilla Utami is the other, what then do you do with Io and Kyrie? So I'm kind of interested in how that goes because if they get Io and Kyrie, you'd imagine they're against Utami in some form.
Mm.
Maybe I was wrong about the title, and it will be like a Miko Iono in that picture, or
A
Nagisa
Mirai in
Ozaki
that.
from
A
Mirai.
Mirai potentially.
Like maybe Julia Sari is a red belt, and then the white belt is Iono versus Mirai or something. And then Utami is wrestling Io in some capacity. So I'm very interested how that plays out because I really did think Utami and Bozilla would be one of the big matches, but maybe that's further down the line than we thought, and
Mm.
they'll do that at a much later date, maybe December if they do a big December show. I don't know. Um, so that's kind of interesting to me. Um, Last thing to note, I think, is that Miko Yano closed the show. So if you had any
Yes.
doubts over how they view her, she
It
was in
was
the
very
middle.
funny because like Julia and Utami were like dead, like limping and shit. And I was just like in the middle, like, "Hey guys,
Yeah.
I'll take this, thanks."
So if you have any reservations about Iono here, they love her. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, right. I think that's all the stuff to carry or to talk about. Now, full thoughts on the
I,
Marigold debut.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go first, or do you mind? Do
Um,
you care?
I can go first
Yeah.
a
All
little
right.
bit.
Okay.
So beyond the full thoughts, I thought that like some of the metrics are kind of cool. I don't know if you were gonna go into them after, or if I should go into them. It's up to you.
Feel free.
So like some things like a lot of wrestlers were in attendance, which I thought was really cool. Natsu and either her staff or her regulars at her bar were all holding like Utami fan signs and stuff in the crowd, and I thought that was really sweet. Um, Hiroya Matsumoto was there, Kyoko Kimura was there, right? Then Momoe Nakanishi was there. Like it just felt like a lot of people were very excited for it to kind of go well. Like there were a lot of people in support of the venture and really excited for it. Obviously, there were flowers from Tozawa, Shirai, and Kairi, um, Ai Fujita, and Michiko Omukai, I believe, as well, among
Ooh.
other people. Right? There were like bouquets and whatnot from a lot of people who were very much in support of the show. The show also did like some absurd numbers for Wrestling Universe. I think it was the second biggest viewing of any Wrestling Universe show ever, behind the first Cyberfight Festival, I want to say, um, which was like the first crossover between Noah and DDT and TJPW. So that was a very big fucking deal. Um, so this was the second to that, and it also was like one of the biggest, maybe the biggest. Scott tweeted this. I'm not reading it. I probably should be, but I believe it was the biggest 1 day subscriber count for Wrestle Universe ever. Um,
Yeah, biggest
yeah,
subscriber gain. Yeah,
highest number of new registered members in a single day.
outside of obviously the launch day, which is
Yeah, yeah.
100% no matter what. So
Uh, and yeah, like just like metrics like that are fucking insane. That's a very big deal. I thought that the going into like my personal take on the thing, I thought that the atmosphere was tremendous. I thought that the lighting was really cool. They had like this big match lighting. They hired a team to do that in Corkin, which I thought really uh, took things a little bit differently. I thought was really cool. Um, and yeah, I thought that the vibe of the entire show was just so much fun. I talked about, and I hate comparing, and it's going to be annoying because we do a Stardom X Marigold podcast. But it felt for me as somebody who stays up or wakes up to watch stuff live. Um, Waking up at 3:30 in the morning is way harder than waking up at 1 a.m. for me, or staying up. But this felt like a far more seamless endeavor than the Flashing Champion show did, just because it was so much like the momentum of the show gave me adrenaline. Like
Mm.
I felt energized from the crowd's energy and from the wrestlers' energy and just the general show. It was a tremendous debut show. Um, Almost every single match delivered. The only match that didn't, I expected not to, honestly. So I wasn't particularly upset in any way. And I saw that as like, hey, this some of the things were not as bad as I expected them to be. So I'm not going to complain too much. Uh, yeah, I just thought that I had a great time. I got to text you and Scott, who were also up during the show. We talked about it, and it was just a great time. I like the energy, the vibe. It was what I wanted. You know what I mean? This is what you want from pro wrestling. Is just this feeling, this energy. And that main event really crescendoed it all and made it so. You know, it complete the show perfectly. It was a great time. I loved it. I thought it was a tremendous first outing. Just really good.
Yeah, I think this was the perfect show. It's not the best show ever, but it was the perfect
No.
show. Like, this was I said this in my Voices of Wrestling review. This was like a peacock just, like, strutting its feathers and showing off. Because every match was very much, "Hey, here's what we have." Every match, and I do have this criticism that there was a lot of 50-50 stuff on the show, and I expect to see that ironed out. But I do think the 50-50 stuff was everybody wanting to put in the best performance possible. And so you got a glimpse at this entire roster of people who are doing their best and are gonna do their best. Um, and you got to see, the beginnings of the Victoria Yuzuki push. You got to see the beginnings of the Koki push. You got to see the beginnings of the Bozilla push. You got to see Mika Aono slot in as one of the main names, which is something people have wanted for a long time. She's always been somebody that deserves to be a big part of a proper Joshi company. Um, mix that in with the production, the hot crowd, just the general energy around the promotion. And I think they made the statement they needed to, that, Joshi once again has a credible, proper big three. We now have again three promotions with, really interesting rosters, really good production, that air live and are relatively accessible. And Marigold said, "We're here, and you're gonna have to pay attention to us." And that's kind of all that I've wanted from this. Especially with a lot of the roster. I love a lot of the roster, and so seeing these people in a place where they're gonna have feuds and they're gonna get to, like, move up and down the card and things are actually gonna happen. It's really cool, and I do think this was just them showing off, and I think they did it really well. And I think the best is still to come from Marigold. Um, Once they have a full deck of cards to play with. So I was very happy with this, and I'm very excited. And I actually can't believe it. I'm fiending for two Shinkiba shows. Like, I need them to drop
Man,
now. You know?
it's been a while since I've been like waiting for a Shinkiba split, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane. Yeah, I mean it's just I'm very excited for Marigold. I am a uh full-throated Marigold supporter.
Hmm.
They really they hooked me. They hooked me, and I think that was the important thing. Is I think they hooked a lot of people. Um, even I don't know. I'm very fascinated by what they do next and what the Shinkiba shows look like and what the Osaka box shows look like and whatnot. Because
Definitely.
it could be a lot. It could be a lot of fun, and like Wrestle Universe. Not to call people out, but it is kind of insane that people were complaining about the dollar increase. Obviously, we didn't know about Marigold yet, but like uh, Wrestle Universe was like, "Hey, we're gonna increase the price by like 90 cents, because we're adding a bunch of new companies, and we think it'll be worth it." And people were complaining about it, and I'm just like, "Do you know how absurd Wrestle Universe is
Yeah.
as a like Noah's back up, like Noah's doing good stuff, like and fucking Mario and like, TGP, like it's just insane. It's insane. I'm not trying to sound like too much of a shill, but I am a Wrestle Universe shill. Wrestle Universe is like the greatest subscription anybody can have if you're a wrestling fan. And I'm super excited that these shows are just going to be on Wrestling Universe because that's something we didn't even talk about. Just straight up, the production, beautiful. I've always said that Noah cameras, like Noah's, production is the greatest production in pro wrestling, and the other cyber fight companies, the other Wrestling Universe companies, just kind of use like a bit of a smaller scale of that, and that's what Marigold used, and it was just beautiful. Like it was a beautiful experience to watch the camera. Like it was so good. It was so like it just oh man, I like it, it's I I don't even have words. It was just because production can really take you out, as we've talked about numerous times for certain Stardom shows, uh, and other shows. Like the indies kind of have that problem sometimes. Is that sometimes production just like you need it, and it kind of like adds to a show, and it adds to an atmosphere, and that was what happened here, where like the atmosphere and the production and just everything just chef's kiss. It added to a already really well done show by the crew.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As I said, Joshi has a big three again. We have a third well-produced effort being put into the booking promotion, which I had said the scene really missed once Ice Ribbon had its kind of its issues, and to have that back now is going to be great for the talent and great for us as fans. And I think we're just in for a really fun time. Even there's going to be jumps eventually. I imagine people are going to leave Marigold, and it's probably going to be really interesting, to see how that goes about. So I think we're in for a very fun time. We will close the show soon. There's nothing to preview for Stardom or Marigold. Neither of them have cards up, but there is something much more important on Thursday, the 23rd. The Hana Kimura fourth annual memorial show is happening. You can buy it on Fight TV. The proceeds go to help Kyoko Kimura. I think it's called. I can't. The name for this one is all over the place. It's Terimakashi. Terimakashi. Yeah, something like that. Um, I don't
I
I
think
don't
you
know
did
how to
well on
say it
that.
properly. Yeah, 'cause I don't know. Is it Japanese? It looks kind of Japanese. Anyway, it's fine.
I believe
Um,
it is Japanese, yes.
this show, it's our way to pay tribute to Hana every year. It's a beautiful show. Kyoko puts a lot into it, and wrestlers really do come together to just put on the best show possible. There is involvement from Stardom and Marigold, so we're gonna look at it. The Stardom matches to look out for is Rina is wrestling Yuna. Yuna is from Sendai Girls, so that's like a rookie special. So that should be
Mm.
interesting. Um, there's also Suri and Konami are teaming with Suri Ano to take on Mika Iwata, Chihiro Hashimoto, and Miyuki Takase, and a team of Mio Momono, Sari, and Kaori Yoneyama, which just sounds insane, quite frankly. That's going to go absolutely nuts. That is so stacked.
It's an
Um,
insane match. That is just like a
yeah,
dumb match. Like what the
yeah.
fuck?
And then from Marigold's perspective, it is Veni versus Utami Hayashishita, which was Veni versus Julia. I think Julia in her promo did say that she would still be at the event, so I hope she gets to
Mm.
speak at some point. But yeah, I was devastated for her that she didn't get to wrestle. This is something she's wanted to do for a while. I just kind of hope that they let her do it next year. Um, yeah, these are the matches. They're either intergender or they don't have any Stardom or Marigold stuff. But definitely support the show, check it out, and it's always a fun time. Um, and yeah, and that's it.
Fascinatingly, the Utami Veni match was supposed to happen last year, but Utami got injured.
Yeah,
So this is, kind of a make good on the Natsu show from last year,
it is. That it is.
which I am super excited for. There was a very cute picture of Julia Utami and Kyoko Kimura at the
Oh yeah,
uh,
that was lovely.
Marigold show. Yeah, Kyoko was like, it was a really fun time." And I was like, "That's good. I'm happy."
All right, well, that it is time to close the show. We will be back next week to discuss the what we can see from the weekend. I don't
Oh,
know if
and
Stardom is live.
the Catch the Wave started. The Star
But
wrestlers
it
were on
did.
Catch the Wave.
It's on Stardom
Uh,
World, I think, as
yeah,
well. The matches.
I
So
haven't got to
that's
see
cool.
either of them yet. I'm probably not gonna watch the Rana
Same.
match. But I'm sure Saya versus Nanami is probably fun.
Yeah.
I don't know who Rana faced, but I know she faced someone.
Well, she's like a new Diana trainee, I think. Yeah, I haven't seen
Oh,
her.
okay.
Um, yeah, we'll be back next week to discuss what we can see from this weekend. The Shinkiba shows aren't live, so we're gonna be waiting
No, they
on
are.
them. Are they? Maybe
Yes.
I thought they
Every
were
show in Tokyo
VOD.
is live.
Wow. Okay, that's great. That's
So
awesome.
once
Actually, I
when they
didn't
go to
realize.
Osaka, it will be VOD. And when they go to
Yeah.
like Nagoya and when they go to
Okay.
Iwate, it will probably be VOD. But Shinkiba and Korkins are always going to be live. And I think
Right.
that's kind of why they're running Shinkiba is because they know how to run it live and they just have it set up well. So yeah, that will
Grand.
be live.
Stardom is uh not live. Yeah,
Ooh, that's
because
actually a good question.
Flashing Champion is live, but the 25th is delivery at a later date. 26th is live. Okay. And then the 28th is delivery at a later date. So Stardom is live on Sunday. But the rest won't be up, so we'll have to
Oh, they're in the KBS Hall. Yeah,
yeah.
they're
All
gonna be
three
live.
shows on Sunday. We're gonna have to watch three shows on back to back to back.
Well, you know,
Marigold Sunday, yeah.
I thought it was Saturday, but
Oh,
I
I hope
don't know
so.
days or
I hope
dates.
so. But yeah, so we'll discuss what we can see, which is the two Shinkiba shows from Marigold and the Kyoto show from Stardom. Um, yeah, and then we'll look ahead to whatever else, and we'll probably talk a little bit about the Hana show based on just
Gonna
what
look ahead to
is
the
important to
pit.
us. Yeah. All right, it is time to close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in.
Stay golden.
Joe.
Isho. I almost forgot.